welcoming you all with a bright smile, fresh, and a new morning. A very warm welcome to Delegate. Now requesting the chairperson of the session, Mr. Alok Bihari Panigrahi, to preside over the session. Sir, please.
Good morning. We have a better weather today compared to yesterday. Rains are not there. So I hope by in time we'll have a little more attendance than what it is now. So today is the last technical session. After that, there will be panel discussion. In this technical session, we have 4 papers, and I think most of you know all of them. I know personally 3 of them very intimately. Dr. P.C. Misra, also from Directorate of Mines. I have heard about his name. So we have it's a very interesting session. It is on legislation and policies. Uh, uh, how it can affect the scenario that yesterday you might have heard that with the amendment of the MDR Act in 2015, where the first come first basis mineral concession was changed to auction regime, that has given a great strength in the mineral revenue to the private sector, to the government. And one of the example is that Odisha government, for your kind in three, had in crores, which used to be hardly a few hundred crores earlier, and it is about 25% of the budget, state budget. So, how the policy and legislation can change or can affect the entire scenario, the economy. So that we know, there is only one example. Now, recently in 2021, there has been an amendment, and 23 also there has been an amendment. In the recent amendment, I think we have very few limited time, but I will just say that the recent amendment on critical minerals, I think 24 blocks have been auctioned successfully so far. And in 2023, the Offshore Area Act has also been amended. And after that, 13 blocks have been put to auction, though probably it has not been auctioned so far. So all this and the entry of private sector in exploration, they are all policy decisions. Uh, so the policy decisions and legislations do have a tremendous effect on the entire mining regime. So with this, we start our session today. We have 4 papers. Uh, uh, it is already 10:10. So we have to finish by 11:15. So what I will say, about 15 minutes for presenter, and followed by a discussion. But discussion will put at the last. What I will request everybody, those who have questions, please, after the end of the presentation of each of the speaker, please write down your question in a piece of paper and pass it on to me. And the question whom you want to ask. So, and what is the question? You write it down and pass it on to me through somebody, and then we'll ask the presenters to answer the question at the end of the discussion. So, the first paper is again concerning the empowerment. So, it is by Dr. P.C. Misra, Joint Director Geology of Directorate of Mines and Geology, Government of Odisha, on empowering of the mining industry for the future. Dr. P.C. Misra, please.
Good morning, everybody. I was thank Dr. R.C. Mohanty, who has personally come to our directorate and invited Director Mines and Geology to attend the meeting, but unfortunately could not attend the meeting and entrusted me to present this paper on behalf of the Directorate of Mines and Geology. Briefly, I shall discuss how we have progressed and where we have faced challenge. That is the main objective of this presentation. You are all aware of the recent amendments of acts and rules after 2015 when the mineral evidence and mineral content rule and mineral auction rule came into force, and it changed the entire scenario of mineral administration and mineral exploration. Following that, as per the requirement, Government of India, keeping in view the Atmanirbhar Bharat and VIKSIT Bharat, amended many of the clauses of the acts and rules, and accordingly we are now following it, and how we have progressed and where we have achieved what, just a brief discussion in this presentation. You know, Odisha is the one of the largest mineralist state of Odisha, where it dominates in the country's resource. We have 44% of manganese, 24% of coal, 39% of iron, and 42% of bauxite, chromite 96%, and we are also producing about 19% of manganese, 24% of coal, and 58% of entire country's production of iron, and 73% of bauxite, and about 96% of 100% of chromite as a whole. And we have highest number of operational mines after the post-auction regime, and we contribute about 56.3% of the success rate as compared to the other states of India. And we are dealing with 29 major minerals and 17 specified minor minerals, along with the minor minerals of soil earths. How we have achieved in the 2015, after amendment, immediately we have auctioned one virgin block of iron, because immediately there was no ready blocks which will fit to the amendments in the format they have prescribed in the rules in Part 4A of MEMC rule. So immediately we were able to auction only one block, and that block took about 6 years or 7 years to get it operationalization. That is the constant. Then in 16-17, we again auctioned two blocks, one limestone block and one manganese block, where the exploration was done prior to 15. We just recast the report according to the Part 4A of MEMC rule, and we went for auction. Then in 17-18, from our own exploration, we able to auction two virgin blocks of iron. And in 18-19, that is a lean period, and in 19-20, the boom came. The expired leases, as per the rule, 24 leases expired, out of which we auctioned about 20 blocks of limestone, iron, limestone, graphite, iron, chromite, which include 18 expired leases and 2 virgin blocks. Then thereafter, there is a lean period, because the expiry leases are already exhausted. We depended upon the virgin blocks, and to make a block auction worthy after exploration, following the norms of exploration as per the prescribed rule, it took time, about 3 to 4 years at times it takes. Hardly minimum 2 years is required to get a block ready after exploration to be auctioned. In 21-22, we again auctioned 11 blocks. In 22-23, 8 blocks. And after 23-24, there is a rescission because of some policy level decisions. So far, we have auctioned 44 blocks from the state and 3 blocks by the central government. After this amendment of critical minerals and strategic minerals, the blocks operationalized so far after the auction is only 24, and yet to be operated 20. And the resources what we have already taken lease for 50 years. That is my concern. We are empowering the industry by giving resources for 50 years. There will be no pressure on them to collect other mining leases because we have good resources, very good large deposits of individual blocks, and 2,954 million ton of iron, over 60 million tons of bauxite, and 104 million ton of chromite, and 17.4 plus million tons of manganese we have already leased out for 50 years. How they will operate, that is the next question. Then how we grow from the amendments. Before the auction rules came, our revenue collection, you can see from 12 to 15, it is ranges between 4,500 to 5,300 crores. But after financial to 16 and onwards, we have got the benefits of auction. Now, in the financial year 22, we have collected about 50 crores, 50,000 crores, and still we are maintaining a balance as per the market fluctuation. And last year we collected about 46,396 crores of revenue from the auction, and so which is after operationalization, the collection of revenue is astounding, about 31% CAGR in revenue from financial 16 to 23 due to additional revenue generated from the auctions. How this revenue is generated? Because from royalty, from additional payment, from applicable amount, and others. And you can see the revenue contribution from iron, manganese, chromite, coal, post-auction and pre-auction. And this is the another aspect of this amendment. We have collected DMF. Our contribution is maximum to the DMF in All India figure and other states figure and Odisha figure. You can see 33% of DMF has been collected by Odisha alone, 29,335, which lessens the burden on the government of Odisha on its budget allocation. Because from that DMF, collectors are empowered to spend money for the development of their own district. So for development of mineral bearing districts, this fund is created by government and it is regulated by the Development Commissioner of Odisha. And anonymity is another aspect introduced by Government of India to focus on the exploration, where lot of money is involved because of deep-seated exploration techniques and the integrated approach to locate the hidden mineral treasure. So DMF, anonymity was created where the lessees are contributing, and we are contributing about 34%, the maximum of India, as compared to the all other states of India. And so far we have already contributed 2,000 crores to the development of mineral exploration. And DMF funds is being utilized by Government of Odisha for afforestation, for infrastructure, irrigation, education, livelihood programs, housing, welfare of women, children, and skill development, sanitation. So these are the features where we have got advantages from this amendment, where there is just less burden on the budget allocation for the state. Coming to the after auction, how the mines are being operationalized. In past 2 months after auction, 2 months we 4 blocks could be operationalized because of the amendment, seamless transfer of leases of the expiry leases. So by that we could able to operationalize 4 mines. In next 16 blocks could be operationalized after auction in 2021. 4 months we took for operationalizing the expiry leases of 16 blocks, and 2 blocks took 7 months, and 1 block took 3 years, and 1 block took 5 years. This is the timeline required for operationalizing the auction mines because of the several clearances. Now we are planning to operationalize 20 blocks in the within 28 and phased out our apprehension according to the way the files are moving and the clearances are accorded. In 24-25, we are planning for 5, and those 5 will be operated because these are in the final stage. All the clearances have been come, only 1 or 2 clearances are pending. In 25-26, we are planning to operationalize 6, and 26-27, 2, and 27-28, 7. And coming to the exploration, uh, in Odisha now, we have enhanced our exploration activities. Particularly, this is about the mineral sector. Not other aspects are not included here. We are taking up 94 explorations. 34% at G2, 30% in G3, and 36% explorations are planned for G4 exploration, and by all the agencies operating in Odisha. And these are the projects where GSI is undertaking 40 exploration, about 40 explorations. DOMG 15 exploration programs, MECL 4, Atomic Mineral Directorate 10, CMPDI 10, and OMC 13, and and 2 NPAs are now operating within the state for graphite. After being strategic mineral, graphite is declared as a strategic mineral. 2 NPA are now operating, and these are the distribution of the mineral sector where the focus is there. RERM project. Now we are focusing on RERM project. There are 8 running projects in this year by MECL, GSI, and CMPDA and AMD. Status of NMET projects. NMET has funded, we are contributing about 2,000 crores since amendment, but state is not pulling well as compared to our contribution. We have 64 approved projects, and most of the projects are being done by MECL. Next is OMC, and DMG, Tamil Nadu State Mineral Development Corporation, NPA, OMC, MEC, DOMG, others. And this is the number of projects approved. And we have completed about 38 projects, and under progress are 25. One project it dropped due to environmental issues because of interference from MOEF. Now, what are the challenges we have faced in the auction design? There is a net worth criteria for eligibility fixation, because you have to show your net worth as a percentage. So otherwise you can't participate in the auction process. In this case, what we are saying that our state players, they are not eligible to participate in the auction because of the higher VER. The larger blocks are coming. The VER is very high. As compared to the eligibility criteria, they are not qualifying. So small players are eliminated and discouraged. Then another problem we are facing, small deposits, small resource. But the rule says it will be granted for 50 years, and the lessee has to pay all the statutory demands like dead rent and registration, stamp duty. He has to pay. And there is no relaxation in the validity of the lease. It will be sustained for 50 years. We have auctioned 5 million resources, 7 million resources, 15, 16 million resources, but those mines will not sustain for 50 years. So that thing should be addressed in the amendment for subsequent amendments. Again, we have small deposits of 1 million ton, 1.5 million ton, 2 million ton. There are no takers. Iron manganese may be bulk commodities may come in higher resources, but when we talk about graphite, small pockets of manganese, so we should encourage cluster mining in that case. We have about 200 million 200 plateaus, small plateaus of bauxite, which are scattered. If you allow them, they can't mine it because the resource is 0.5 million ton, 1 million ton, 1.5 million ton, 3 million ton, like that. There are small deposits of bauxite. Nobody will take it for 50 years. How this can be exploited? That should be thought of. Either you allow cluster mining or you reduce the validity of the lease up to 1 year, 2 years. The cement industry are not getting limestone, bauxite, because of this is a problem. So we should think of this. There should be an amendment for the small deposits, how it can be best utilized for the development of the state and the country. Otherwise, we allow cluster mining. So in sporadic patches where mineral occurrences are there, we could uh, amalgamate them as small A, B, C, D patches and allow him only those patches with eliminating the intervening areas. Because if we add the intervening areas, the lease of the area will be very high and there will be a pressure on the lessee.
Can you please summarize?
Yes, then after, sir, a lot other things are there, just I want to
It's
discuss.
very interesting, definitely, because you are from government and giving the present status, which is very important. Please,
Yes, yes.
please speak.
Just how two, three slides are there. Then there is a introduction of composite license and exploration license. Yes, Government of India has promoted it. We have to honor our hidden treasures. But after introducing it, we faced a challenge. Wherever we are giving a composite license at G3, the then they amended it again. The better deposits like iron, limestone, bauxite will be considered as good as akin to G2. But what about other commodities? The CL holders, what they are doing, that is not being monitored. What technical data block model for the mineral deposit is being generated from that exploration? The mechanism of monitoring that exploration data is not adequate and it is not addressed. Then EL holders, the exploration license uh, concept came into force. The exploration, who will do the exploration? Then the nationally accredited exploration agencies has to be identified. They will do the exploration. Who will monitor them? They will take money from the NMT. About 50% of their exploration cost will be reimbursed from the NMET. But what is the monitoring mechanism? What they are doing in the field? What type of data are being generated? There is no specific practical guideline that is there. They will review their work, but in the VC, in video conferencing, they will review. What they will tell that they have to accept it. And in one CL block, we have faced that problem. We have to go to field and we again examine those cores. And those cores, the core logging was examined and it was found that it was not correct. So it took 1 year that to validate that GR. Because we have not seen what they have produced during that, nobody was visiting when the exploration was going on. And the technical committee of the state was assigned to validate that report for auction. Then we again went to the field, a team of officers from GSI, IBM and DMG. So we again relogged it. Then we asked that lessee to recalculate your resource and do the sections again. So it took 1 year after completion of exploration. So that is one aspect. The state government should be empowered or a committee should be formed at the state level to monitor the exploration activities of the private players wherever CL or EL is granted. And auction of G3, G4 blocks, without any scientific model, the reports are being produced to state government. I am also the nodal officer for NMT for the state. I am sitting in all the NMT reviews. I have some experience from many fields of India, Odisha, except coal. I see they are producing some fabricated data. So because nobody is visiting their area, and recently last week we have developed an SOP where we have entrusted, the state government has entrusted the field level appraisal of the exploration activities. The concerned joint director will visit and the nodal officer will finally visit and will give a signature so that their money will be released. So these are the aspects to be touched. And brief suggestion, uh, we should promote zero waste mining. What is that? An optimum extraction. Zero waste mining means we have to uh, be stringent to find the byproducts, the value addition to the mine products, and how optimum extraction can be achieved from that mine, so that not a single resource is in addition to the blocked resource, other entire resource should be exploited. Then auction of mineral blocks shall be strategized in phased manner, not that we shall auction this year 30, next year 0. That should not be there. And we are strategizing it to do it in a phased manner, but there is at times to uh, meet the growth of the industry and the revenue targets. We are pressurized to auction 30 mines, 20 mines, but that should not be there. That should be a limit. Then there should be an inter-ministerial group to help operationalization processes where a lot of coordination and facilitation and monitoring of operationalization is required, because it involves the revenue department, forest department, transport department, mining department. So there should be an inter-ministerial group to wherever there is a problem, we should address it immediately, not as a not at a tortoise spell. Blocks of smaller size, of smaller deposits, the rule should be relooked. It is my opinion, not of the department. Wherever there is a small resource, lean resource, it cannot sustain 5 years, 10 years. The earlier practice of fast come, fast serve basis can be adopted, keeping a capping which resource we shall auction and which resource we shall allow as per the legacy mining laws, so that those small deposits can be exploited. But if we keep them with the rule, it is difficult to sell them, to auction them, because if our specified manual is 30 years, and specified manual, yes, it's the last one. So that thing should be addressed, and all the older dumps, the legacy mining dumps, they have stockpiled the resources below the cutoff grade. The marketable, below the marketable grade, they have stockpiled it in their old dumps. Those dumps should be relooked. It has resource. And as a pilot scale, we have taken up a pilot project with help of OMC and GSI in Sukrangi chromite mines of OMC. And we estimated 4.49 million tons of nickel having 0.86 grade. And from that dump, we are getting pyroxenite, dunite, peridotite, serpentinite, which have also industrial application. And the artisans are facing problem. Those larger boulders of serpentinite, dunite, peridotite can be supplied to them. The dump size will be reduced. We can value add the dumps also. And 15 days back, we got an amendment. The LSC can take a lease outside, can use areas outside the leasehold to use it as a dump site. So if the dump will be shifted, then at that time it should be recycled. Whatever resources are there, we can extract it. Earlier 60% iron ore was marketed. Now below 60%, what happened to those resources? In chromite, 25% plus chromite is sold. What about to below 25%? So these things should be addressed. Thank you.
morning, Chairman, the dais, and the speakers, and guests and delegates, and the delegates of the dais. Most of the things have been already discussed prior from yesterday, since yesterday. So it is an easier part for me to skip the certain things. Now, coming to the topic, that now that we are heading towards the VIKSIT Bharat program, vision VIKSIT Bharat, we must be prepared. Particularly, I'm talking, as you saw the title, it is on iron ore, specific commodity. So that is the talk of today's, that iron, and now the new addition is critical mineral. For Odisha, these are the two vital things. So if you go for increasing the demand of steel because of the many reasons, urbanizations, industrialization, whatever it may be, you need to have the additional resource on iron ore. That is a must. And focus should be on that in the domestic front. And India, having all over the India, the iron ore fields, mainly 13 domains have been there so far in the greenfield areas. And we must try for enhancing those fields in the brown field as well as the OGP areas. Now for that, the focus should be made on to reassess the iron ore resource. That is the fundamental. Because whatever assessment has been done, auction has been done, everything is already. If you go for higher target, you must be prepared with this raw material base. So that is the main focus. And for that, we have to revisit the area on stratigraphy, structure, mode of occurrence, and genesis, particularly for iron, and modern techniques, application of modern techniques. It must go hand in hand. And the characterization of mineralization we used to do earlier, that is some research items should be there on the part. But now it must go parallel, because when you are going for enhancement of resource, you have to be very specific on what characterization features, what type of mineral you are going to add to the resource. And optimum utilizations, because you cannot have any waste. Now the days have come, the waste wealth. So that is, particularly for iron ore, the fines commodity and the fines is the problem for the utilization. That should be managed. And as the previous speaker told, cluster mining, that is also needed, because many small mines cannot go laterally, neither vertically, but resources are there, so that is blocked. So this is a list, I mean, which is not conclusive, but it should be discussed in exhaustively. Now this is a map for the scenario of starting from Gorumaishani, Daitari, Khand, and the Horseshoe Belt. I will mostly concentrate on Horseshoe Belt only. Now, as you know, in the Horseshoe Belt, the age-old stratigraphy and structure that is from time of Jones and up to now. That is a stratigraphy, quartzite lava, lower cell, banded iron formations with iron ore. This is a normal, and mixed phases. The celt of mixed phases, the V.N. Murthy, he has given the reference of mixed phases where manganese is here. But the important is the structure. The initial structure, so far, it has been decided that there is a two-fold system in this iron ore. That is, the first is the very gently north-northeast plunging fold, and superposed by east-west to northwest southeast fold. That is, on that basis, the exploration pattern is arranged. But now, to revisit the area, many works have been done in the recent times, starting from, I shall say, 1980 up to now. So here there is a in piecemeal area. It has been worked in detail also by the academicians from the different universities, even by GSI and other institutions. The threefold theory. Threefold. What is that threefold theory? Uh, there, I will say, this is the horseshoe belt. This the general in the earlier pattern. I show you that this normal northerly plunging basin where the western limb is overturned and eastern limb is gentle. That's all. But here, what is happening? The western limb, what we are telling, it is a fold pair. It is a combination of the F1 and F2. It is not a limb. If you take it by the norms also, synclinorium and syncline, there is a difference. So when we say horseshoe synclinorium, it is not a normal fold and refold. So this western limb is refolded isoclinally. That symbol is given in the specific from Bolani, Goa, Bolani, Khandadar. You can give this, so the minor folds, how it behaves. And also manifestation of that is there. If you see earlier in the western limb, there is a one pattern of deposits that is along that Barswa, then Kalta, then Bolani. But you see the eastern flank of the western limb, there is parallel deposits working by different. So this repetition of deposits, you must mind. We must concentrate on that. How come it has come? So it's very interesting. The overall work, I think major work should be done on that so that the deposits can be formulated, the conceived that how many more deposits can find out of that. And particularly the iron ore, we concentrate, that is banded iron deposits and detrital iron deposits. Those things, particularly for the horseshoe belt, I am telling. So those things are to be identified. And now in three parts, as I told, western, central, this for the horseshoe belt, western, central, and the eastern belt. The structure, since detailed, has been followed by different agencies and universities, and they show that the refolded fold of the first generations and superimposed by the second generations, and those minor features we can get in this area in Malangtoli particularly. There is since 1981, Chatterjee and Mukherjee has already depicted that the Malangtoli itself is a syncline. That is the difference. In the northern part, Thakurani, we have worked, GSI has worked, itself is a syncline. There is a fold, two-fold system there. And in the central part, also you will see the plunge is, both side plants are in the minor fold, both side parts, the double plunging things. How can it show double plunging? So these are to be taken up. Why it is to be taken? Because many more deposits, if you systematize the structural pattern, now you see there is a huge deposits are coming up in the valley area, which was not earlier known. Why? How could you come? It has been formed earlier. So this structural model, when you follow that structural model, you will see that this Ghoraburani, Sagathai, Kalarmang, and all these deposits are nothing but the only manifestation by the manifestation structure, those have come out within the valley area. So if you statistically apply that model, and there should be, I'll tell, there should be a joint venture. So you can find many more deposits in the valley area which will help in enhancing the, that is the point which I want to emphasize. And for that, prospecting procedures, that is a normal for the greenfield areas we do, and we are doing also to identify different areas. And the methodology, new technologies, DGPS, total stations, logging with the core photographs. These are normally, it is being done everywhere. So LV sections and 3D modeling, that is to be adopted. That is no question. And now coming to the brownfield areas in that belt also, as I showed. So there some geophysical aeromagnetic survey has to be done. That has been done also, that has come. So on that basis, in the virgin area, in the iron ore, where we have not found, we must make an attempt to find the new deposits by geochemical prospecting, so the soil samples, and then the normal geological mapping and structural mapping. And as I told you, by applying the structural model, you can find out, you can search for new deposits there. Now, for the future, in order to do this attempt, there should be an integrated exploration program. If you combine together, particularly the GSI, state DGM and OMC, then I think many more things can come up within this Harsu belt. And next part is that for the enhancement of resource, other than the existing resource on the iron ore, as per the discussion. Now, other than this, so far this iron ore is concerned, BHJ, BHQ has got some important. Yesterday there was a talk, detailed talk by Lloyd, and GSI should initiate some thematic mapping, because in BHJ, BHQ, these cyclothems of quartzite and iron, hematite, hematite and other things, that varies, that varies from few centimeter to even uh, 40, 30, 40 centimeters. So those are to be identified and by thematic mapping, and we can approach for the blocks where we can make an attempt for mining of, as discussed yesterday, mining of the BHP. And they are doing Surajgarh, they have given the example. Even they are also sending to Oman. There is a report that for from 30% iron in the BHQ for their briquette plant and other things. So now for mining, this is total about the roughly about the geology structures and of this Harsu belt, where we can go on making some integrated approach to have the extra resource. Now coming to the mining, as now discussed, cluster mining will help us, and if we go for the depth continuation also, this aeromagnetic data which has been available, you see the entire valley, it seems, have the high magnetic and gravitative data. So we can also calculate the depth out of it. Depth, increase of depth, that is to be through the legislation we have to do, because there is a strict specification of the UPL. You cannot, a small mine cannot go beyond certain depth. So there we have to try that, and by that we can have more resource even in the existing and the new prospects. Now coming to the characterizations, why I am telling characterization is important, because characterization should go hand in hand. Where we are going to work for the extra mining and other things, what type of ore we are going to. Earlier only iron is there, lump, fine, okay, fine, this is the total resource, okay. But nowadays it cannot go that easily. You have to see what type of magnetite or hematite, or with that goethite is how much percentage. Yesterday the detailed discussion was given by Dr. Vishal. So that helps in mining the things and keeping the grade, and both in chemical grade and the physical size separately, lump and that should be assessed. And for that, these different processes of characterizations we must follow. Particularly if you go for thermal analysis and Raman spectrography, you will see the compositional variation between the different ore types you can find out. So from that we can see that what type of ore we must get ready for which industry or sale, and the other things must have a spectrography and photoelectron spectrography. They can differentiate between the different types ore with the environment, oxidation environment or reducing environment. For that, what nature of work ore we can expect from that area. Accordingly, we will do the mining. Okay, okay, fine. Then similarly, geochemical processes, you have to analytical, yes, these are the accepted procedures. One important thing is that if you, in the process of characterization, particularly in the Horseshoe Belt, we are doing only iron ore mines. We are not looking after other components in the iron ore area. There, uh, there, if you apply these electron probe analyzers, you can see that invisible variables like gold may be there. We are not concentrating. We are just passing on as iron ore only. But that is to be taken. And metallurgical procedure in the characterization has been discussed. I will not take time. Beneficiation, of course, that is very important. It has been discussed because the low grade, particularly 59 less cut-off grade, that should be taken care of for all this process of jigging, gravity separation, roast, and other things. Supplementation will be done by that. And utilization of the fines, that is a major thing. We have concentrated on that and for the agglomeration. And another important thing is that ochre, sometimes in the iron ore area, in specific in the Gandhamadhan also it is reported, ochre having 60% iron, but and specifically alumina is very less, 54. Why you leave it? We must add it into the resource. Now, and automatically green briquettes and other things, and that is in the modern technology. We can go for that. Brazil has already adopted that for the agglomerations. And next come the action plan. What action? As I told you, these are the actions to be envisaged. That BGM, GSI, IOM in particular in Odisha must take initiative to the unexplored interlease and interlease areas. That many more deposits may be hidden there. We must go for that. And then the non-executable dump. Just now, as you told us, there are many old broken up areas where non-executable dumps are there, but the specific dump 30 years back, 40 years back, they must be used now ore. So that is to be sampled and taken into account. And the concept of GSI overlaps, that is very important. And for that, the leasehold areas without all these components must be taken into account, landforms, forest boundaries. Okay, I'm leading towards the environmental aspect. I will not describe more because the environment will be discussed hereafter. Now, coming to the policy framework, yes, because this is a legislation session, so policy should be given that Ministry of Steel and Mines must allow the exploring agencies to have more number of boreholes in the OGP areas, because that the stipulation that in 100, earlier it was in 100 square kilometer area, you can have the 10 boreholes in the OGP area, which is lead to nothing. So that number must be increased, and private and government agencies must be working on the prospecting, exploration with the CSI, simultaneously with the CSI lab. And abandoned mines quarry should be, for the environmental sake, should be again reclaimed to lucrative tourist spots. That is the suggestions for the policies. And I think the whole thrust remains here that we must go ahead for the enhancement of resource through different process of executing the exploration, mining, and characterization process, and to meet the demand of the steel in the present scenario and in future to achieve the target of VIKSIT Bharat. And this is the way how we can enhance the production of raw material iron ore with the new concept. That's all. Thank you.
For achieving the India's 2047 target. Dr. Upadhyay, please. He is additional advisor retired from MOEF and CC.
Thank you, Chairman, sir. Good morning to all. Please allow me to offer my respectful prayer to the great soul, Mohanty ji. I'm not from mining, I'm from environment, but he was my guide since 1990 till he breathed his last. I was in his book every time, mainly for the environment issues for the children program that we have, the education program for the children through SGAT. And that made me to understand the importance of that particular, the unique program of SGAT, which was totally conceived and operationalized and looked after by Mohanty Sahab. That made me to understand the scope of that. And during my work in the Ministry of Environment and Forest, the same vision, same concept I had taken to Bihar, UP, Bengal, Assam, Tripura, and I myself have organized the programs of environment education for the children. And Mr. Mohanty was so energetic, more than me, that he joined Tripura, he joined Assam, he joined Meghalaya, he joined Bengal with me in the ministry's program. From my organization, I did not get much of the support because that is not our job. But because this program was so impactful, you look at the children, I don't know whether you people have, some people might have seen the SGAT program. It's so pleasing. You see the young birds, how they are responding to your things. So that is the innovation still is with me, and I go on contributing on that aspects. Whenever I find time, I go to school, ask the principal, give me 2 hours. I do that. This is really something great. I am Dr. Upadhyay. I have worked in the Ministry of Environment and Forest for 30 years. And I have served in Bhubaneswar, looking after the states of Bihar, Bengal, Jharkhand, Odisha, Andaman, Nicobar, and Sikkim. I have worked in Shillong, looking after the 8 states, twice, Bhubaneswar thrice, Delhi twice, Lucknow once. So almost you can see central and eastern, northeastern part of the country, I know what is the project, what is the problem. So I retired happily with some good memories in the mind, some bad memories in the mind. Sir, this particular time is extra. Chairman, sir, this is extra. If you are from this state, I request you to visit Sukinda Chromite mine of Tata, see one plantation done there, BC Mohanty mine, which is with Tata, there, Sarda iron ore mine, and SL mines. You people sometimes say, and very decoratively say that Miyawaki experiment. Some of you may be knowing, some of you with decorative mind they say. And that was the first experiment in the country done with the help of these 3 mines. I salute to them. I wrote to 60, 70 mines, but only 5 of them responded that I am ready to do this Miyawaki experiment. And you can see, this is a miracle. 20 tons of carbon is being sequestered every year by that plantation. Nowhere you will find. So this is ecologically very sound, the method of reclamation. And of course, I have little bit changed that from the Miyawaki. After discussing with Miyawaki, Professor Miyawaki, I changed it because they were only going for potential natural species. उनका अगर concept आप देखेंगे, the concept is rejuvenate the potential natural species. They don't go for horticulture species or any other plantation. So for the survey and enumeration and finding out the potential natural species, I had discussed with him. I was there for 3 months there, and I have changed in the context of India how to find out those species which can be taken up. You can find in vpupadhyay.org all the reports, you will be having that. Coming to this VIKSIT Bharat, what are the environmental regulations which can revamp the mechanism or boost up the economy, or which are the regulations which are regressive? I will spend some 1 minute time on 4, 5 aspects. And this is the mind after retirement. So you will be finding a very, very good mind, because when you are in power, you say you are a regulator. Regulator has got so many things in mind. I am a regulator, I have that power. But technical aspect sometimes gets missed. Let me tell you, environment and development goes together. In the environment concept, there is a mechanism in the country that you have to obtain, industry has to obtain environmental clearance, that is EC, and the committee which is giving you the clearance, they prescribe certain condition, you have to comply with that. And how far you have complied, that thing has to be audited. Compliance audit. It is never followed in the country, but that should be the principle of the clearance mechanism for getting a sustainable productivity. And this is exactly, if it is followed, the 2047 mandate we are going to achieve वहाँ VIKSIT Bharat. As on date, all 3 EC compliance audit, although they are in their book, but for the regulator, for the consultant, for the project, it's not being followed as per the principle, coming into that business. All EIA is done for the new project, and EC is required for all new projects activities, expansion projects, as well as if you are changing product mix, like pharmaceutical, every day some other medicine is coming. If the product is changing, then also you require the environmental clearance. These are 3 activities, they require environmental clearance. And in clearance business, there are certain categories of A category, which are the big impact projects. They are priced in the central government in Delhi, and there are certain categories of projects, they are called as B category projects. There is a committee of Government of India at the state level that is called as the State Expert Appraisal Committee and a State Environmental Impact Assessment Authority. They will give the clearance. In between, if you see, there is a general condition. If the category B project is following going for this, attracting this general condition, because they are closer to natural forest, they are closer to sanctuary, they are closer to national park, they are in a critically polluted area. So this B category projects will become A category projects, and they will go to Government of India. This is the change. B category is divided into B1 and B2. B1 projects required EIA and the public hearing. B2 project doesn't require clearance. There is set up pro forma. You apply to the state environment impact assessment authority, and on that basis, and that form basis, your clearance is given. So you don't need any EIA report or you don't need any public hearing. This is in some summarized way, this is the operational procedure of environmental clearance in the country. It takes almost something like 360 days. If you say as per the notification, it will require some 360 days, but sometimes it happens it goes to 500 days, sometimes it may be 280 days, but minimum requirement is 360 days. And this is the period where I will deal little bit what is the problem with this particular issue, 360 days, whether industries are having certain issues with this, I will discuss with this. This was the general condition I was talking about, that if project is closer to protected area, closer to critically polluted area, they will be categorized from B to A. You all, we are all sitting for the development and environment. We want that everything should be intact, natural environment should be intact, built up environment should be intact, and transformed environment also should support. So all three should play together so that we have a sustainable environment available. This is the objective of whether you are an environment activist, you are an environmental regulator, or you are a mining person. This is actually the object of getting the sustainable productivity. What has been taken by this government towards that approach to VIKSIT BHARAT, getting a developed India? What has been done so far? Some of you may not be knowing, some of you may be knowing, but bear with me if you know it. All the acts, Air Act, Water Act, Environment Protection Act, Forest Act, Wildlife Protection Act, which are regulatory in nature, they have been decriminalized. Because the jail term जो होता था कि if you do the violation, you will be put in jail. Now that has gone. With one go, this government has said no. There is a financial penalty. Financial penalty may be doubled, tripled if you go on violating, but there is no jail now. So this is one relief that you can faster move to the 2047 without any thinking that you will be put in jail behind the bar. So that has gone. Second is, this is very recent, that if there are duplicate things, you go to Pollution Control Board, get consent to establish. It is just like EC of Ministry of Environment and Forest. So there was something like, you can say, the duplication. Although Pollution Control Board does the appraisal at a very limited scale, IEC is bigger scale, but there was duplication. Now with this, the government, a notification has been already published that if you have applied for EC, you don't have to be vetted by Pollution Control Board for NOC. You don't need NOC if you have obtained the environmental clearance. You have to deposit the fee, because आपके जो consent to operate की fee है, consent to establish की fee है, उससे उनको salary मिलती है. So you have to pay the fees, and if subsequent to EC they want to put some condition, they can put. But you don't have to apply, you don't have to go for presentation, and you have to pursue that. So this is a change, new change now, and you all know that Water Cess Act has been withdrawn. जितना पानी आप यूज करके आप निकालते हैं उसमें एक वाटर सेस लगता था, वो भी विड्रॉ हो गया. So this is a good approach towards reaching to VIKSIT Bharat, at least in environmental way. What is needed? I'll be much short. You have a TOR process, terms of reference. Terms of reference is given for you to go for EIA. I suggest here, why after TOR you should have EC process? Forget about it. Why you should have EC process? With TOR, EC process is over, as we have not much input in EC. Compare last 10 years EC of any sector. 10 साल पुराना ईसी निकाल लीजिए, आज का ईसी निकाल लीजिए, यू फाइंड कंडीशंस आर सेम. So what is the mind being put by EAC, Expert Appraisal Committee? There is no site specific, project specific condition. All conditions are something like general. Same condition you will find in so many clearances. 10 years back, same condition was there. Today also same condition is there. Copy and paste. Why should you need EAC? TOR is already a good guideline for preparation of EIA report. Every impact is going to be addressed in EIA report. Why should you need Expert Appraisal Committee? This is my thought. There no EAC is required in this country when you are approaching the VIKSIT Bharat. But EAC has to be converted to ECC, Expert Committee on Compliance. आज आप झरसुगुड़ा देखिए, राउरकेला देखिए, संबलपुर देखिए, राजगंजपुर देखिए, रायगढ़, कालाहांडी देखिए, जाजपुर देखिए और मयूरभंज देखिए, गुरु महिसानी, कहाँ अंगुल देखिए, सॉरी अंगुल, where you can say strongly that you have reduced the pollution? Nowhere. What is the meaning of this clearance? We are very poor in compliance assessment and compliance doing. So EAC should get converted into ECC. All over India they should spread, and this expert committee on compliance should go and visit. They should be given power through regulation, and they should give the report, and the regulator can take some action. EAC is not at all required. When EIA is prepared, that is the document addressing the impacts. What else EAC can do? That's my opinion, and I find with my limited mind it is a valid suggestion. EIA is scrutinized by specialized institution or panels notified on website. Make a panel of institutions in the country, put it on your website. EIA report of the industry should go to them. They should give some suggestions, and those suggestions the regulator should transmit to the industry. So there is no requirement of EAC. This is the parallel suggestion given. EAC should not sit on EIA. Network of institutions in the country, we have got large cream of experts available. Every state, they should get access to the EIA report, give their suggestions, and their suggestions should be forwarded to industry by a regulator that you comply with that. So this 3 months, 4 months meeting, this time, these all things should go away, and industry will not be fearing with the regulators. And these recommendations also should be part of the condition. What we gain is complete reduction by more than 365 days to ensure economic viability. ये appraisal system अगर आपका खत्म हो जाएगा, जिसमें 365 दिन लगता है, industry can, even some of the industry can go on a production stream within these days. Otherwise, they cannot do anything at the site because they have to get the environmental clearance. So these things, appraisal and everything go parallelly in the process. All conditions safeguards should go to the industry, but there should not be any EAC like this. This is my suggestion towards reaching the VIKSIT Bharat. Okay. Another issue is about public hearing. You know, this is another issue. Public hearing is a very debatable point. If NGO and public are there, they say there should be public hearing. Industry, there should not be public hearing. Regulator, there should be public hearing. There are certain the industries in the state of Odisha and the coast. One industry came with a very good technology for establishing steel plant. They were not allowed. That was a new technology coming to India. But another the same place, another industry has been allowed with the same blast furnace technology. So what is this public hearing? This is something we have to deal with that. My opinion is that public hearing is to be removed. When site is allotted by the state government, that time only state government should do the public hearing, and whatever recommendation is there, that should go to the government of India for putting that condition in TOR. So public hearing at site should be done by state at the time while the site allotment is there. Otherwise, what happens? You get the site, go for EIA. After that, appraisal committee said no, you cannot. Public hearing has said no, so you cannot go for the project. You have got the land and everything, you can't do anything. So before getting the land, do public hearing. State is giving you land, do the public hearing and send the recommendation to them. 2047 will be productive only when we plan like Gati Shakti. You know the Gati Shakti vision of Prime Minister. Unless you integrate all the stakeholders into one, you are not going to have a 2047, and environment should be included in everything. If I ask you, do you like AC process? No. Industry will say no. Answer will be no. Why? Because as today's regime, there is a fear of the regulator. So that fear has gone because decriminalization of act has been done. And if this process of EAC is also removed, making a specialized institution giving the feedback, that also fear will go away. Then industry will say, yes, we need the EIA process. We will not change, so environment is to adjust itself. When you say no, you are not changing, so you say that environment has to adjust. Environment will not adjust. It's not possible. We have to change ourselves. अगर आपको विकसित भारत करना है, the environment has to be a consideration when you develop an industry. Let appraisal be a guideline. हम regulator का डंडा छोड़ दें. Appraisal will be a guideline, not a clearance type mechanism, and compliance will be strict. Compliance has to be very strict. Third party measurement, this is a summary type. There will be third party measurement only, regulator has to go away. All pollution control board, Ministry of Environment and Forests, all these body who are giving clearance, they should be removed. A authority has to be, independent authority has to be established so that you feel very close. Otherwise, just like police station, you see the police station, run out from there. That is what is happening with the regulator now, environment regulator. It has to be thought in that system. Why I am telling you, in ISO system which is voluntary, ISO 14001 or 20,000, anything, it is voluntary. Every industry going for ISO 14001, it is not regulatory. So you are very keen to go, but you are punished also. If you are not following, next year their audit will come, you are not following the ISO criteria, you are removed. Your ISO certificate will be taken. So this thing, same thing could happen in the country on environment also. Compliance should be stricter, and these are clearance business. This let there be a guideline and manual should be prepared. Environmental governance must reform. Regulator be away from appraisal and compliance, but policy and standards applied strictly. This is my opinion. Thank you very much.
See, so now we have already time is there, but hardly any time is there. But anyway, we have a very interesting paper, on chromite to be dealt by Sri R.N. Praharaj, and I think it is supported by Mr. Manospati. Am I right? Mr. Manospati. Mostly open cast mining. They have reached their ultimate mining depth, and many. I think one of the mine is already facing closure. The oldest, probably perhaps the oldest mine, Sukinda chromite mine, has applied for closure of that mine, and they have got their final mine closure plan approved. So that is already putting a pressure on the total production. And I think I understand that the prices of chromite also has gone up very recently, And that gives an idea that underground mining is perhaps the only alternative which is we must do as soon as possible. We have only currently working mine only, I think one working mine we have, and second one is they have started and they are gone back. And I think there is of course I think Bangur mine is also there. There are two mines which are going by underground mines, but we still have a tremendous potential so far as underground mine is concerned. So now I request, I think Mr. Praraz was director in OMC a while from now, and he has dealt with the underground mining project of chromite. So now I request Mr. Praraz to kindly make his presentation.
Good morning, respected chairman of the session, the authors on the dais, and the esteemed guests across the dais. Before I start, I pay my deep homage to the departed soul of Mr. late V.K. Mohanty, whom I knew from my childhood days, that I had mentioned somewhere. He was the driving force behind this SGAT and the flagship program of EMAP, which in fact is making our young generations quite aware about the impacts of environment and the future for them. Before I start, I will request the co-author, Mr. Manoj Kumar Pati, to be here. In fact, I have the pleasure in introducing Mr. Pati, who was the first mine manager in the Sukinda Valley, involved in planning, designing, constructing, and making the mine operational. He has worked 15 years, rather we have worked 15 years in developing, mechanizing, upgrading underground mines in Nuar Sahibola sector and in Sukinda Valley. And currently he is the additional general manager mining in Odisha Mining Corporation. And he is now spearheading the underground mining project, which is just awaiting approval of the government to start implementation. So he is very deeply associated right from the exploration, the analysis, the testings, the planning, mine planning, and all other statutory requirements. Now it's he is the person who has to drive this, as many of us know that very few people understand the language of underground in OMC and also elsewhere. So it is his responsibility to take it forward, and he has helped me a lot. In fact, the presentation has been prepared by him, although I contributed majorly towards the script of the paper, but the presentation has been prepared by him. So I will request Manoj to be seated here and assist me at the time of crisis. So why this topic was chosen? When Dr. R.C. Mohanty told me that you have to put a paper, in fact, for last 4 or 5 years, he has been after me. Why are you not writing a paper on underground? I said, who will understand, who will take it forward? It would be like Odiyare Kala Agare Mula Chivela Hava. No, you people are doing good job, you must bring it to light and to the fore for the benefit of others. And this time he was hell-bent, you must put a paper. Since I have deep regards for him, and I also thought now I am retired, so I could find out some time to pen this paper and put it in the seminar. The topic that VIKSIT Bharat 2047, it's a very broad term, it has got many dimensions. Sir, I may be given liberty for stretching it beyond your limited time, because while talking, I am bound to cross the limit. Sorry for that. So the steel production, which was slated to be 300 million tons by 2030, was reduced, as I understood from the presentation of Mr. Rath yesterday, to somewhere around 270 or 280 million tons. I'm not a steel person. So as the steel production goes up, the requirement of stainless steel will also go up. Currently, the steel consumption per capita, steel consumption in India is around 97.7 kg. And by 2030, it was planned and expected that it will reach a figure of 160 kgs against the world average of 230 kgs. By 1999, Odisha had a capacity, installed capacity of 4 million tons of steel production, that is carbon steel. And as on today, it stands somewhere around 32 million tons. And if you look at the MOUs that have been signed by government for greenfield projects, by JSW, by ArcelorMittal, and by brownfield expansion of JSPL, JSL is going to add also 2 million ton. So it is likely to reach around 95 to 100 million tons by 2030 if they are really put into operation. So this puts a requirement of about 10 million tons of stainless steel. And as all of you know that chromite, although it is not put in critical mineral category, but is a strategic mineral. And stainless steel production of 10 million ton will require about 5 million tons of chromite production, because this chromite will be converted to ferrochrome and it will be added to in various proportions depending on the grade of the steel, stainless steel. So where do we get 5 million from? In the country, Sukinda Valley is the only area where chromite is being produced. And Sukinda Valley contributes about 96%. Another 2% used to come from Nuasai Baula sector. Because of various issues now, Baula sector is almost dormant, barring one mine of Odisha Mining Corporation, which is producing a mere about 60,000 tons. It is planned to produce about 60,000 tons per annum. That's a very difficult mine, very hard rock, ore is brachiated. These are all pocket deposits. And the kind of mine which was initially planned there, it was a kind of, you can say, a primitive kind of mine, the track mining. Whereas in Mahagiri of Sukinda Valley, what we had planned was trackless, and which has the capacity of taking your production to a desired level. Not like open cast, you don't have that kind of flexibility. But then yes, a reasonable level you can produce if you have planned properly. So in that context, in OMC, this South Kalyapani mines, during this COVID period, the production came down. Before I go to that, let's have a look at the reserve of chromite worldwide. It's all there, you can see. The global production is somewhere around 41 million tons. And major producer is South Africa, considering that they have a large volume of deposit, followed by Kazakhstan. Although Kazakhstan has the highest reserve, but production-wise, South Africa is it is in Odisha 96%, which is about 330 million tons. And if you, this is resource, but for production, that comes to a mere 79 to 80 million tons. So you can jolly well imagine if we continue with this, hardly 5 million tons per year, then probably in another 8 to 9 years, the complete deposit will be exhausted for mining. So this is just for your benefit. I am not going to touch upon this. This is the stainless steel, how it is going at the rate of 7.3%, and what would be the chromo requirement, how much do we export, how much do we import, all these things are there. Now, if you look at the distribution of chrome ore lease, following the decision of Supreme Court, which was categorically based on the requirement of the captive users, Earlier, major player was Tata Steel and Odisha Mining Corporation. They were just mining and selling, a kind of trading. There was no value addition. But there were ferrochrome plants who had put up their facilities, but they were not having the access to ore. So based on that criteria and based on their case in the Supreme Court, the decision was taken to distribute. Tata Steel was holding 1261 hectares in those days. It was reduced to 406 hectares and the balance was distributed amongst the ferrochrome producers at that point of time. And IFA was the company which took the lead in this. And since they had more installed capacity and more requirement, so they were given the major portion of the distributed area, which came to around 190 hectares, followed by Balasore Alloys and then Jindal Steel. So what happened that this particular stretch of ore body, which was supposed to be mined by one company, is now fallen in the lap of 3 companies with the restrictions of boundary. And obviously, they could not go far deep. If you compare, assuming that that was the only mine, probably they would have been able to go up to minus 40, minus 35 easily. But now because of the boundary restrictions, anybody can hardly go up to minus 5, minus 10. So a considerable amount of ore is blocked in the boundary, 7.5 meter, the statutory boundary is blocked. Balasore Alloys tried to mine it. IMPA and Balasore Alloys, they joined hands and in the interest of mineral conservation and for their benefit. So they started the common boundary mining. I think it was during Panigrahi Sahab's time. And they did mining up to certain depth. And then it was stopped. Similarly, Balasore, after that Balasore wanted to mine the balance ore which is left in the boundary pillar. So they did all kind of permutations and combinations. They took some drives in the ore body and mined it, just a drive they took and took out the ore. Then they filled it. They left a small pillar because the ore body is quite wide, about 20-25 meters there. So then they took another drive, but it was in ore, completely friable, which was not sustainable. If you just excavate, it will fall down. So the cost of supporting was exorbitant and it did not become economically viable. And for various other reasons, they could not continue. So that was left like that. So same is the case with now. Currently, I am associated with Jindal Stainless. They have the smallest portion of the ore body. Their strike length is only 320 meters as compared to 420 meters of Balasore and 610 meters of IMPA. So in Jindal Steel now they are planning to go for underground mine. They are in the advanced stage of receiving the EC. Hopefully everything goes well, then probably somewhere around February, March, they will be able to break the ground. And the first mine which developed underground operations in Sukinda Valley was IMPA. It is because it was their captive mine. They were not into trading like mining and selling. They already had power plant. They already had ferroalloys plants in Thiruvali and Chaudhar. They were starving because of the ore. And they had other financial issues. Had they not got these leases, probably the company would have been somewhere else today. So this mine was planned looking at the requirement. We had no choice. Nowadays, that was in the year 2008. It started by few individuals out of enthusiasm. I suppose there are some people from GSI. I spoke to one Mr. Jena yesterday, and Dr. Padhi was there. When we got the forest clearance for that block, management asked us, you take the decision whether you will deposit the NPV or not. So it was on our head and without any data. Only few old workings were available, 5-6 meters, about 10 meters, 8 meters. Those were all buried, collapsed and buried. There was no other clue with us because all the 3 holes which GSI had drilled in that property were blank. They were not having any ore. Then we took one of the retired very senior person from GSI for a day. He made a reconnaissance and he recommended that you surrender these leads because there is no sign of ore in this. So we were in a fix. My boss asked me, what do? You suggest. I had a friend by name Dr. Sullivan who was with me in ISM. I spoke to him. He's a geophysicist. He said, just give us some logistic facilities. We will carry out a survey. We provided the basic facilities and they undertook the survey. That was a gravity method. And they came out with a report which showed that a pocket of ore, volume about 30,000 tons at a depth of 30 meters. So it was very interesting. Obviously, they recommended that this has to be confirmed by way of core drilling. Based on the old pits, we had prepared a mining plan which was approved by Panigrahi Sahab, and he had made a comment which I still remember. This is a hypothetical mining plan I am approving just for the purpose of getting your lease sanctioned. But you have to do all kinds of drilling and all to establish the existence of ore. So we drilled, and the first hole encountered 26 meter wide ore body, and with a grade of 44 to 48% Cr23 lump, hard lump, which is for metallurgists it's a rasgulla. They call it rasgulla. The ferroalloys persons, I mean, they were very happy. And we drilled 6 holes. All 6 turned out to be positive. And in that drill hole, in one section, we drilled 3 holes to determine the depth of the ore body. So we got some basic data available with us. What we did is, while we went on drilling, we also got the drilled cores tested for the geophysical properties at ISM Dhanbad. And that generated quite a bit of data. So that was the base how we started the planning for underground. I will stop here because this is the stage where all other lessees have to think. When they are going for exploration, they must plan for deeper holes, although it is time consuming and a lot of money is involved in this, and chances of failure of few boreholes because of this strata is also there. But then they have to live with it. If you are looking for the reserve and the intent to mine ore from a depth due to non-availability, obviously you have to invest time and money in this. This is where many of them falter. Particularly those are not into captive uses. Because this is a very time consuming process, and while you start drilling for establishing the ore body, its geometry and all, you have to carry out number of tests, geophysical tests, physical studies, hydrogeological studies. All these things have to be carried out simultaneously. And as far as first 200 meters of the cover is concerned, it's all soil. The weathering profile varies from lease to lease. It is not constant. That's a big bottleneck. I will show some of the sections for your understanding. Yes. Underground mining, I am not going to discuss the method and all, but how we approach. This is the current status of EC of different leases, and what would be the production, all these things. These are the barriers that people are facing to switch over to underground mining. The first is, as I explained, there are very small leases and people will not like to put in their money if they have been allotted on fast come, fast serve basis, or the lease is likely to expire in another 10-15 years, obviously nobody will like to put money, because after that it will go to auction. You are not sure whether it will come to your basket or not. So people think twice before investing money in this. And another thing is scale up mining operation, which we all understand is not there. Even if you want, you cannot mine to the extent you will love to economize your bottom line. It is not there. And some of the leases are likely to expire, which were allotted earlier prior to auction regime. And they are also not sure, except for OMC. OMC may or may not get if the legal regime continues, because very often nowadays there are amendments to MMDR Act, which was not there earlier. Now quite often you find in every year 1 or 2 amendments. So it is not sure, because government's plan is to make a level playing ground. Probably this advantage of PSU getting the leases on recommendation may give away. So that kind of Damocles sword is also there. And in many leases, open cast mines have reached their ultimate pit limit, as the chairman has already explained. And they are not able to go for steeper slopes, because of these host rocks, which are highly weathered, and these are watery stratas. This put a very challenging task for the mine operators. It needs constant slope monitoring, dewatering, depressurization of slopes, which are the jobs you have to be done very meticulously. Like taking medicine every day, it has to be monitored very religiously and methodically. So these things are putting a kind of mental block. Otherwise, people have in patches, in some of the leases, in patches where the rocks are little bit favorable and hospitable, government has allowed steeper slopes. I understand Sukinda Mines of Tata was allowed 37 degree in patches, 37 degree up to certain depth, then 35 degree, then 33 degree, like this. That is purely based on the condition of the host rocks. And another thing is recently he was talking about, I also knew that another amendment has come regarding availability of land for ancillary mining activities, mainly that is dumping. No, it is now both. It is, but that will mineral development, but that will be considered as the total mining lease. And let us see. Yes. Let us see how this helps the industry, particularly in Sukinda, because in the periphery of the mines, quite a bit of population is sitting over. There will be no point if you get a land around 10 kilometers distance. You carry the bloody whole thing there and dump. Probably that may not work out. This, let us see how it is benefiting the industry. And the geomining conditions. And all of us, many of us must be knowing that the band 1, that is the northernmost band, which is quite rich and almost 6 kilometers in strike length, has got very good grade. Out of all the 6 bands which have been discovered, you get the best grade in band 1. And unfortunately, the band 1 has the worst host rocks as compared to band 6 or band 4. There you get competent rocks at a depth of band 6, in fact, you get right from the surface. But in band 4, you get around 50 to 100 meters in the recent drillings. OMC has established that. So that means when you go 300 to 400 blind without any ore, invest money and time to reach the ore body, that is 1/3 of the time you will require for other bands. But this is the widest and richest ore body. So this is a major bottleneck for the mine operators. And the weathering profile, it varies from 200 meters to 300 meters. up to minus 350. You can imagine the surface area in general is around 150, 140. So almost if you consider the opening from surface, either decline or shaft, so you have to go almost 350 to 400 meters. Constructing a shaft or a decline, if you are going at 1 in 8, 300 meters will be a 2.4 kilometer long decline. It will take 2 years to develop that decline. So the gestation period becomes very high because of this geomining conditions. Yeah. So the challenges I have already explained. This is a capital intensive industry. OMC has calculated for a production of 1.5 million tons in their proposed underground. The investment will be around, sorry, 2,300 crores. So part of that will be upfront and some will be distributed over years. But then that kind of money one has to have to go for this. And easily for this kind of construction, you need 4 to 5 years, not only to reach the ore body, to start stopping operation. And many of you may be knowing, Paningay sir also knows that he just mentioned that Tata Steel took the mine, Sukinda mine in auction by paying 93.75% of premium. And the first year, they could not meet the MDPA target, for which they had a demand of 613 crores. And they went to High Court. They had some reasons to approach the court, and court directed that you pay 100 or 200 crores and you continue the mining. So they could manage the production because they had a lot of low-grade ores, and they managed to book in production and escape this juggernaut for another 2 years. But the last year, again, they will be paying a huge penalty. So, sorry? Considering all this, so they have finally decided to surrender the lease. They have already written to Government of Odisha in the month of March. And now their FMCP, Final Mine Closure Plan, has also been approved by IBM. They have already withdrawn the contractors. They are now gradually curtailing the facilities, and they are only focusing on the other 2 mines. So why Tata went back? Yes, it is another story that they went up to 93% of premium. You will be happy to know that when they made this request, Government of India wrote back saying that Tata Steel was the last operator prior to auction. How come they could not know that this kind of production will be possible? And as per the rule, when the mine is coming for auction, the last 2 years production is, average of the last 2 years production is becoming the base of the MDPA target. Since they were they had decided to surrender the lease at that point of time, and not surrender, they had decided to give up. So they had gone up to the optimum capacity, EC capacity almost. So that is how they fell there. And but the reason that they are citing is they cannot produce 2.4 million tons from this mine, and they have to develop underground mine, which they have projected an investment of 6,000 crores and 4 years gestation period. So yeah. So now this myth of underground mining is not possible in Sukinda Valley is gone. Now that barrier is broken by IMPA, which is now followed by Vedant. Vedanta has also started developing 2 declines. And you will be surprised to know that they have planned the entire production to beneficiate. Their average grade of production will be 30 to 32 from the underground, and the entire thing they will beneficiate. Now, IMPA has also started band 1 underground mining for band 1. They have started a decline, and 2 vertical shafts they have started. Hardly these have gone about 30 to 40 meters. And Jindal is in the pipeline. So the point I'm trying to make is that we must now tighten our belt, and instead of looking for instant benefit from the mining, we have to invest in future. And there are many issues. I think this needs a lot of discussion. This just I want to show one picture. You can see there are 2 dotted lines. This is the particular thing belonging to Jindal property. There is a fault which is moving from northeast to southwest, and there's another fault which is not shown here, that is running east-west. And this fault, which is going from, which is almost across the strike, has a width of about 40 meters. So, and the entire ore is crossed, and it is low grade. And we do not know what will be the configuration of the ore body. Only after drilling now they have started elaborate drilling. The geometry of the ore body will be decided, and so also other parameters to find out the pre-feasibility study report, whether underground will be possible here and that. These kind of studies should be taken in all the leases, irrespective of the mine owner. As a rule, they must invest in this exploration. And I was talking about this weathering zone. You can see this yellow portion is the limonitic zone, which is adjacent to the ore body. And as the main thing is you have to reach the ore body, you have to access the ore body. So you have to pass through this limonitic zone. How treacherous is limonic when it comes in contact with water, we all of us, we know. So that is a big hindrance. And if you look at the blue patch, that is weathered rock, but that's also fractured. But probably this can be dealt with advanced technologies, and that is why people are turning away their face from underground mines. This shows in more detail. The whole zone has been divided to, topography has been, this is a section across the ore body. You can see this band 1 on the left side, which has been folded. You will see patches of serpentinite veins and limonitic patches. So you have to make access somewhere and to reach the ore body. So you have to pass through all these strata. Dealing with strata is the challenge. Yeah. What my suggestion will be, these kind of studies require n number of tests, and we do not have facilities nearby. Even in NIT Rourkela, we do not have, leave aside Keonjhar. So we run to either IIT Kharagpur or to Simphar. Simphar is highly overloaded, and ISM has discontinued all this kind of project work because of the new director. So where do you go? And if you go to some private, there are a number of credible private agencies, but their test reports are not accepted by DGMS. Because they always try to play safe. After you invest money, time, and go to them with the final report, they say no, you have to get it vetted by X, Y, Z. So again you run around. So my submission is that testing facilities, particularly the testing facilities for rocks and soils, has to be established somewhere close to, or maybe I was talking to Mr. Balwant Singh earlier that we can develop Keonjhar Center of Excellence and we can have the facilities there, but he's not there, and gone with him is also the proposal. So just for your information, those who understand, that we wanted to carry out a creep test. And right from Jammu to Kashmir, we contacted all reputed institutes, including IIT Chennai. Everybody declined. Creep, you know, the time-dependent deformation. We wanted to know, if you are making an opening, how long it will stand without support. So that is basically the aim of the study what we were looking at. They said we can modify our machine, but we cannot go for we wanted for 7 days. They said no, not for 24 hours even. We can at best make it ready for 7 hours, 8 hours creep test. So we had to give up that kind of thing. And this exploration, as I said, it's a very time consuming and expensive affair. In OMC, for one band, we had spent around 24 crores in exploration, 20,000 meter of core drilling. And these are not normal conventional core drilling just to establish the existence of ore. As I explained, there are other things have to be associated with the drilling. And anybody who is buying chrome ore, they always look for the IBM price. They always scratch their head looking at the price. Oh my God, it has again gone up. And it is in never going back stage. Price is somewhere around 42, 44 grade fines is selling somewhere around 18,000 plus. So you can jolly well imagine. So, so that kind of, because that includes the royalty, annuity and other things. And royalty is 15% of the average sale price. And now we all know about the Supreme Court decision on the state's ability to tax mining revenue. That is VIKSIT of the Odisha government, which they have not so far brought out the notification because two more cases are pending in High Court and Supreme Court. But Jharkhand has already brought out their rates for the mineral tax. So also Karnataka. Karnataka, if you find, they all have brought in a flat rate, unlike the Odisha one, which had 7.5% of the royalty. That means royalty will become almost 22.5%. So they have brought a very flat rate, like for iron ore 100 rupees, chromite 150 rupees. Same is the case with Jharkhand. But for auction mines in Karnataka, they have made it a bit easier. I think 1 rupee for iron ore they have proposed. It is yet to be placed in their assembly for approval. So our government has so far not come out with that. We should impress upon them the intricacies of these taxes. Where will somebody have some money to invest in underground? It will be simply, wasted. This resource will be wasted. And fast tracking of environment clearance and all that, it's a conventional thing. And another thing is this NMET. Can NMET partly fund these exploration, deeper explorations? Suppose we are doing a hole of, let's say, more than 500 meter depth or 400 meter depth, as the expert committees decide, then beyond that, any exploration carried out, can it be partly funded by NMET or reimbursed by NMET? So that will be a big relief to the mine operators. Probably they will be inclined to go ahead with that. These two things I wanted to highlight. Probably it can find place in our recommendation. Thank you. Thank you for your patient hearing.
About the chromite mining and requirement of underground mining needed for underground mining. So come to the end of the presentations. I think we got a question for Mr. Jishi Das. So I will request Mr. Jishi Das to answer the questions. And if you have any other questions, you can, during the breaks, lunch break, you can ask the presenters. So Mr. Jishi Das, please.
Question has come from Mr. Tarun Chakraborty, Rangta Group. He has 3 points to be clarified. First one is that if the these deposits of eastern and western limbs are of lower iron ore formations, there is no question of lower and higher. Stratigraphic connotations is not applied in the geology. It is actually whether the two horizons are there or not. So for that, as I explained, the structural studies has to be made. If it is a refolded fold and superimposed by third fold, the same strata is being repeated 2 times. Maybe topographically one is higher, one is lower. So that is to be explained. There are some propositions, so we must do the stratigraphy boreholes to the greater depth to find out whether there is another horizon of BAG or not. That is a burning, even in different SGBP or CGBP, it has been discussed. But you have to find a location where to put the stratigraphic borehole and find out whether the same fold is repeated as a upper and lower or it is a different. I think you can get the hints from that. So for that you have to first unfold the structures by the study of structural analysis and see whether the same formations are being repeated. As you said, there is a valley at the upper iron ore and the limbs are the lower iron. No, it is not like that. Huh? No, no, God. God. If God knows everything, that's right. But we have to go and have a deeper study on it. And then only you can be successful in find out the more and more deposits in the valley area, whether it is a question, as you said, is maybe lower or but it's the same static of the horizon because of the refolding and other things being cropping out. So the model, the statistical model on stratigraphy to be extended and the aeromagnetic also supports that. Entire valley it shows the rich high data. Only thing the deeper connotations has to be find out. So I think you have to. My request would be all the agencies who are working in the villages must do some work on geology now afresh. Find out whether some relevant data is coming in this theory. It will help you to get more deposits laterally and more deposits even vertical limits. That is will be the only attempt you can have. Thank you.
I will request the delegates to ask them during the lunch break or whatever break they have. And with this, we come to the end of the session. Thank you very much, all the presenters, all four of you. Thank you.
Thank you all for sharing your valuable knowledge. Now I would like to request Dr. R.C. Mohanty to present the memento and the bouquet to all the speakers and the chairperson. With this, we are ending the technical session 3.
o'clock. So we had a plan to go for panel discussion from 11:15 to 12 o'clock. So valedictory session was to start from 12 o'clock. Any time our distinguished guest is expected. So for the benefit of all of us, what I feel, we are not able to take up the panel discussion. But however, I can invite our convener, Dr. R.C. Mohanty, to kindly give all the perspectives. Since yesterday we have been having about 14, 15 presentations, so he can very broadly submit the broader perspective of all the presentations. Dr. Mohanty, please.
Okay, friends, please little bit of silence. In the welcome address, I have said why this seminar particularly, it is dedicated to Mr. B.K. Mohanty. And to avoid time lapse, to quickly start the program, I did not read his achievements, whatever we have given in the bulletin or souvenir that you have been given. He is a man who started as a mining officer prospecting after graduation from IIT Kharagpur. Daitari Dungri mines are his contribution to the state. And further, not only that, he has helped in a lot of infrastructure projects. Being an administrator in the Directorate of Mines, we have the pleasure to work with them. There is a railway line from Paradip to Jakpura connecting subsequently to Banspani, expressway, and transport line communications from different places in the mining areas, which he has insisted collectors to sanction funds for that. And local area development, environment, as Mr. Upadhyay has said, even if issues concerned with respect to development of mineral sector, mines, industries, he had a great contribution, and this tribute is for him. And the seminar was planned in his memory to conceive an holistic development of the mineral sector. So many people could, when the seminar was proposed, I wanted topics of holistic development and hurdles in this approach in the state to be taken care. Not as exploration, usually it is not the same type of seminar as organized. Today exploration, then next process beneficiation, next mining, next metallurgy, not like that. Nor it is ideally linking with this mineral to that mineral. It is as per the industry's industrial perspective, final goal. And for that, not to call for papers, we have taken each and every paper on request, pursuing with the authors to speak on the subject which is more important for the mineral development. So maybe there have been some lapses. I beg apology for that. But so many good papers, so many authors who have accepted our request, our invitation, and given this presentation, which is totally in the interest of the mineral development, not only of Odisha, but also of India. I thank particularly the papers by Mr. Bakchi, which was really enlightening for future exploration programs. And subsequently, Mr. Arun Rath, we may have steel plants, We may have mega steel plants, but if we don't consider for environmental clearance, land and infrastructure facilities around the industries, the state, the area will not gain out of it. Then we have responsibility of periphery development, local area improvement. These aspects he has clearly explained. And then Samantraya has told lot of things about the steps government is taking for critical minerals, energy, strategic objects. And all of them have been invited to the topics which are befitting to the industrial development of the area. Then coming to Mr. Vishwal and Mr. Bibhu Mishra. Bibhu Mishra talked about the aluminum expansion, aluminum growth. But one thing he could not make it because of time lapse, time not available, that we have so much of bauxite resources, but we are not growing in the industrial sector. When I think bauxite was explored by East Coast Bauxite Project, India had only 200 million tons of bauxite. It was not suitable for one industry, Balco, to produce 0.2 million tons of alumina. And that would have given maximum 0.1 million ton of metal. And aluminum was high demand and it is to be imported. Thereafter, NALCO continued. And it remained 20 years, not a single mine could be developed. Even if today I find in paper, bauxite mines are dangerous. But if one mine yesterday could prove that we are reclaiming 600 hectares of forest land after taking mining complete, they have given the benefit to the country for the bauxite, getting aluminum. Now, after taking out bauxite, the land is being handed over, which can be used for, they have shown it, power generation. They have shown it for coffee plantation, fodder cultivation, have water resources. But still then the people shout. People object. Why? Because there is trust deficit between three groups. One is we, those who work in industry. Those we are professionals. The other is government. The third is public, political groups. If we don't have trust with each other, we cannot build trust. Neither industry will grow, nor country will grow. So, what is to be done? We are doing our duty. We are not able to raise the issues properly. We feel ourselves, we talk ourselves, and the topics are today brought into. These are the issues which you have to take into account. For me, the issues concerned have been iron and steel. What we know, exploration is most essential. People today in the street or political sphere, yesterday also we talked about 9 billion, 10 billion tons of iron ore. But is it characterized? Can it be low-grade beneficiated? And I had to take responsibility to call Satpathy, particularly to present before here, that experiments are still undergoing and mostly successful for use of BHQ. There have been attempts by many industries, I will not tell, confidential news will be there, but they are also progressing ahead for the low-grade ore to be utilized. But unless this utilization is finalized, this 9 billion ton or 20 billion ton, we cannot dream. If this news goes to the politicians, they talk, oh, iron ore is everywhere, we can mine. But has anybody seen in between those large-scale mining areas how much forest land is there? Mining started with Keonjhar, Sundargarh forest belt. We have fragmented. I have got slides I would have shown you. The mines have taken out patches. Now forest is disconnected. Elephant corridor is to public. We are also public. Industry should look into the national interest. And how you can do large scale mining of 9 million tons there without taking the forest land? It has to be planned. It has to be restored. I have given example of Nalco. So also comes to coal. The best area, shallow area, available area, which can be economically mined, government has taken or Coal India has taken. My friends from Coal India will be there. But now for their expansion, they need further area because they cannot go deeper. Then when they want the other area, additional area, land, habitation, forest, these problems. Government is insisting that coal production should increase, but who will give the forest and those clearances for Coal India to move? Private auctions, we had presentation by Mr. Mishra, he is there. And my request, I wanted to say that auction route is successful, no doubt, is going on well. But what is happening in auction route? Some auctions are not successful. Some auctions are failure. Yes, we should try, wait, see, and improve. There are many issues in auction route to be taken care. But who is going to talk about it? We all sit professionals, we suffer, we cry, we sit, we discuss amongst ourselves. But we are not able to bring out things. I hope VK Mohanty had the privilege, courtesy, or courage to say these things to the government. And we have been working about the chromite issue. Whole world was going to say that India's chromite mining should be stopped. It was only SGAT we fought. And similarly in bauxite case, it is SGAT which has gone and talked to press and other presses that bauxite. And after yesterday's presentation, whatever the bauxite mining has showed that it is eco-friendly, beneficial, not by extracting bauxite for the nation's interest, but also generating income for the future, continue to give income to the country. Still then there is opposition. And in paper I have got in the bag, they have said Damanjodi is having high pollution. And how it can have pollution, I cannot dream it. But paper writes, do we have the courage to go and say to that journalist and that paper that this is not correct, this cannot be correct. This is the objective of stopping the industries. Who is going to do it? We simply sit tight, we talk, and when we have the seminar, we want whether exploration or industry or this or that. But we don't think in a holistic sense how the nation will develop, how our people will develop. Other side, Mr. Mishra's point, thanks God that he has given that presentation. I requested him, some or other, we know the facts, we talk ourselves, but the facts do not come to us which is authentic. If the government could get 5,000 some crores or 4 times or 500 times, one time from the auction, this is the auction which is for 50 years life of a mine, but government has no right to spend it in 1 year. Similarly, whatever the funds we have been given industry, Kampa fund, now manual development fund, and other funds, where that fund is going, why it should not be used for reclamation of mined out area. Government of India has given an announcement, 40,000 hectares of coal fields will be abandoned and reclaimed. No plan. And does anybody know how the coal mines will be reclaimed? And what is the bottom level, bottom pit level? From where the underground mining will start? Has anybody planned? And how these 10,000 hectares in Odisha will be filled up and how it will be reclaimed. It can, same way we can get water, we can generate solar, we can have other benefits. But these are the issues which are to be, I feel express my sincere thanks to the authors, those who have brought the specific topics for the interest for what we desire from SGAT. And hopefully, this desire and progress should continue. Yeah. And thanks to all, from my side at least, for helping us to bring the issues like Mr. Upadhyay has brought very pertinent points for the benefit of industry, to promote industries for the development of the country. And we have certain issues, and SGAT has got, the panel members are all from SGAT. My request, SGAT should sit, panel members should sit, discuss, analyze, finalize, and give a publication to the government, copies, journals, press. It should be a forum, as VK Mohanty was doing it earlier, and that should continue. That is my request. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, our guest is yet to arrive. So let us not, without wasting time, what I feel now, with the permission of the convener, now it's my pleasure to invite convener Dr. R.C. Mohanty himself first, Dr. Onkar Nath Mohanty, our past president and also former vice chancellor BPUT, and Mr. Sanjay Patnaik is the director, SR Minmet, Mr. A.B. Panigrahi, our vice president, and Mr. Dr. BP Upadhyay, and obviously president will be there. So please come to this dais and start the valedictory session. We can start discussing. Meanwhile, if the honored guest reaches, then he will join. Let us start. What I feel now, it is going to be 12:30. So let us start discussion, and we can pursue that thing first. So please come to the dais.
seminar convener and seminar, I request GS Kuntia to preside over the meeting because he.
Okay, thank you. Now let us go one by one about our observations with regard to various presentations and what we can recommend also. This program has to be limited, say, to about 40 to 45 minutes because we are already running short of time. So now let us start with convener.
Two topics could not be talked here. One was small mines, small deposits, and other is uh, detail about infrastructure development for the industry. And these two, without these two, the details, I think. Speak first.
Very good afternoon to everyone present here. I was not here physically present yesterday, but I was watching your proceedings from Delhi throughout the day. And first of all, I would like to congratulate Dr. R.C. Mohanty for having coordinated and also conceived this seminar. And there are large number of topics which were covered. There are one or two points which from my side or perspective, I would like to flag here perhaps. Uh, from the uh, s- from the steel industry part, there is a paradigm shift, shall we say, which is taking place or going to take place very soon. So therefore, the mining sector also has to work its way through that. And the paradigm shift, I wanted to tell the audience here, in 1958, when Rourkela steel plant came up in Odisha, came up in Rourkela, the steel plant when it came up under the sale, that was the first the LD steel making process in whole of Asia. And it was the first commercial plant by Forst Alpine in Austria. Even the continuous casting also started for the first time in Rourkela steel plant. Why I wanted to mention this is because of the fact that when oxygen steel making started, it actually reduced the number of hours which were going on for 8 to 10 hours to 15 to 20 minutes from air to oxygen. Why did it happen? Essentially because of the fact that it was the post Second World War period when the reconstruction was going on. People felt that the cement and steel would be absolutely necessary. So then faster processes of steel making people are pursuing or trying to pursue. And then switch over from air to oxygen was realized would be giving you the result. And this was going on in Austria. And that is how the Linz-Donawitz process, popularly known as LD, started. So in the late 50s and early 60s, the process started. But at the same time, the most important fact is oxygen became inexpensive, cheaper. Today, after nearly 100 years, another landmark is going to take place, not in the steel making, but in iron making. So in the iron making, when we are talking of the carbon as a reductant, in place of that, when you switch over to hydrogen as the reductant, what kind of hydrogen? If you are talking of the green hydrogen, then only and only then would it make place. So therefore, just as we were talking of an inexpensive oxygen, now there should be routes for inexpensive hydrogen. I don't want to talk about that. That's not the seminar doesn't bring me in the scope, but this is one area where the whole world is working. I also wanted to tell you the CCS, the carbon capture and sequestration process. It is no more a laboratory inquisitiveness. There are at least two steel plants in the world. One is in Abu Dhabi and the other one is in Venezuela, where the carbon capture and sequestration is already taking place on a commercial scale. So the technology is established, but the cost is very important. All, not just steel plants, all industries in the world today are talking of ESG. So you have to have the environment part and the social inclusiveness, and of course the government. So what I'm trying to tell you is the just environment alone cannot work, or living environment also cannot work. So you have to work together. This is as far as the steel part is concerned. One point I wanted to make with chairman's permission regarding the chromite part, where we were associated from Tata Steel side, for example. I agree with what Dr. Praharaj was talking about. So if you need data for deep mining, and if you have to run from pillar to post in search of equipment, etc., I had the opportunity of setting up the Keunjhar Engineering College. And we had these plans of converting that into a national scale kind of facility center also. I think this is the opportunity, the right opportunity, where there should be the government as well as industries. It must be taken up also. But when Dr. Praharaj was talking about the Jindal stainless steel, I might tell also this audience that Jindal stainless steel is not only important for the stainless part, but reduced nickel stainless part. Because nickel again is going to be the stainless steel alone. If you want to do the good stainless steel, the nickel is necessary. And so chromite overburden, if you're going deeper, probably your overburden you will not get the kind of mine. I don't know that. And so whether the overburden is separately kept for 0.85%, 0.8%, so that you can convert that into nickel as RRL here, then RRL, IMMT has technologies to do that. NML was working on that. And of course, Atomic Energy Commission also was working on the overburden part. So nickel also is extremely important, and it will make the whole thing more economically viable. So chromite along with nickel is going to be important. Thank you.
With regard to, I'll touch a little on this iron ore side, and very large number of wide-ranging papers has been presented also, about 15 papers. Of course, due to paucity of time, we could not discuss. And Mr. Das, ex-director GSI, he has also brought out some excellent points. Although it is not touching with regard to steel or mining capacity, etc., but he has brought out a very important issue about the reassessment of this iron ore resources. And and in his paper also, he has suggested that we can go much beyond this 400 million ton. Although in this 2031, we are planning only 300 million ton of steel. He has assessed it will go beyond 400 million ton. And in some of the papers, this BHQ and BHJ, with a mere 30% Fe content, it is possible to produce steel by this some new technology quite economically also. And recently, our Vice President, Mr. Sujit, he also invited some experts from BHEL country, and they had a discussion in SGAT also. They also presented. So if we take BHQ, BHJ, and ferruginous sales, etc., probably our resources साइलेंट मोड कर दीजिए, हाँ बंद कर दीजिए. So about BHQ, BHJ, about BHQ, BHJ, yesterday also some papers were presented, and our resources, although it is pegged at about 32 or 33 million ton, 32 or 32 billion tons, including this magnetite ore of more than 10 billion ton. But my feeling is, if all these, low grade deposits, they are accounted, it will go much beyond 50 or maybe 60 billion tons. And also, some of the papers yesterday presented, this goethite, etc., goethite, siderite, etc., uh, they also can be converted by, they have explained certain technology. It could be converted to magnetite, Fe3O4, higher oxides. And once this magnetite, or as we know, right from 30%, we can bring it to as high as 67. It will be pure gold. The productivity in the blast furnace, which used to be 1 or 1.5, it can go more than 2 ton per cubic meter of blast furnace volume. From the same ore, almost double the amount of steel can be produced. And in many forum, we have discussed that instead of these small mines, we cannot go for many of these, this beneficiation and the averaging facility, etc. So probably in Badbil or Joda or in many other mining belt in other states like Karnataka, Jharkhand, etc., if we plan for this sort of cooperative systems, and depending on the tonnage, depending on the ratio, the expenditure can be shared. If this central bedding, blending, and this ore crushing, etc., these are adopted, so obviously the averaging facility will come up, and much of this low grade ore, of course, now this through this new mineral policy, as well as through steel policy, 2017, already the cutoff is lowered from 56% Fe content to, it has already come down to 45, but it can go still below. And so the volume of the resources will be increased very considerably. And this ore bedding blending plants, as I have seen most of the plants, including Tata's also, I have visited. Even after my retirement, I took some foreign fellows also, and Vizag, etc. So ore bedding blending plants are there in shell plants, in Vizag steel plant, as well as in this new plants coming up. So if these facilities are made available, obviously the productivity of the metal sector will come up like anything. And regarding this chromite, I was a board member of OMC for more than 16 years, and what Mr. Praharaj made a very excellent presentation. but but I was frustrated to hear from Mr. Praharaj, because in the board level, in principle, it was decided to go for this project. And believe me, the project cost, although it is a mine, it is much more than a steel plant with regard to the investment, more than 10,000 crores or 15,000 crores. And, and past 8 years, not a rupee return on capital is there. Very high gestation is there. And the project report was also ready for going for this on round. They have 3 loads, and one of the load has more than 15 million ton reserve. And chromite is very essential for our stainless steel. So like that, so many important, excellent issues have been discussed in this forum. And obviously for this VIKSIT Bharat 2047, all these will be very useful. So thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The President SGST, Mr. Kuntia, and Dr. Mohanty, and eminent members on the dais, esteemed members of SGST, esteemed guests present here. In fact, I was not here yesterday, and I have really liked Dr. Mohanty, Dr. Omkar Mohanty. I have sort of missed out on the missed out missed out on the proceedings and all. And but I was very keen because SGT any program, it's so dear to my heart and all that, and so I was very keen to be part of it. So finally, I could make it and all that. Uh, Profusely thank Dr. Mohanty Archi Mohanty for organizing this. And before I start anything, pay my humble homage and respect to late Mr. B.K. Mohanty, the founder and the moving spirit behind this organization. I think whatever we have done, we are here today. His contribution cannot be undermined. His contribution has been significant. Well, couple of points I will make. I have quickly gone through the topics. One to Dr. Mahanti and the organizers, maybe I'm part of that also. One topic which needed to be also addressed is mineral economics. And the taxation, levies, and mineral economics, some papers should be produced because you could have the best of the minerals, but unless the financial viability is there, it will not work out. I am telling this in context of the recent, many of you might have known, just about 10 days back, 10 days back, government of Karnataka has brought out a mineral land bearing tax and a mineral tax. Now, this is because of the Honorable Supreme Court's recent decision, where previously it was the mineral being a central subject and all that. So, the taxation part was vested with the Government of India. Now, the Honorable Supreme Court's decision, where a constitutional bench has sort of argued, and in Orised case, it started with Odisha's that Orised, old Orised case, which was lingering since 2002 or 2004. Finally, the decision was taken, and then the government has sort of, the court has given the powers of taxation to the government, state governments also. And quickly, government of Karnataka has now levied whatever your royalty cess and all that, central government taxes. Now state governments can also, on top of that, levy taxes. So if you really look at it, let us take. We are all talking about iron ore, where so much that is being debated and all that. So it could be understood well. Let's take Odisha Mining Corporation. If you really see Odisha Mining Corporation, even if it gets a mining lease without auction, but its taxation part could and could add up to something like 56-60%. Why? Because besides the normal royalty, cess, enmity, your uh, additional tax, because it is not, the government collects a premium in lieu of the auction, where on iron ore it is 150% of the royalty. I mean, if the royalty we are giving 15% ad valorem, then Odisha Mining Corporation has to give for some of its old, which has been renewed, 37.5%. Another 22.5% additional. So like that, I'm just giving an example like that. So the economics part of it has to be understood, and minerals and these natural resources are there not for a sort of revenue exclusively. It is there for the development of the nation by creating livelihoods, creating overall industrial growth and all that. But if you overtax it and it becomes it becomes unviable, then it is a issue which needs to be thought of. The other issue that came to my mind is the logistics part. Now, for a steel plant, at the factory gate, the product is probably comparable with anywhere in the world and all that. We talk about that, the production costs are high and all that. But if you really see large steel plants with modern technology and very strong control, I'm talking about the private sector, very strong sort of control on the overhead expenses and the other related expenses. The production at the factory gate, if you see the production cost and you compare it with other international standards, I don't think we are lagging much behind, but only because of the delay in movement to the ports, delay in movement to the different consuming points, the logistics, the overall cost, that actually adds to it. And just last year, I think we did discuss about this. In a overall cost structure, logistics is about, in India is about 13-14%, whereas the international standard is about 7 to 8%. So therefore, that is something which we need to, and how we develop these inland waterways, the movement of large trains, large trucks, and all those kind of stuff needs to be also thought about. And Dr. Upadhyay is there. I saw his paper is very, very important going forward. As Dr. Mohanty, Dr. Omkar Mohanty also has said that, going forward, sustainability and environment and all these issues are of paramount. Otherwise, I think development will be stopped and all that kind of thing. So these are two issues which I thought maybe given a little more importance as we go forward in planning our next deliberations. And exploration is another area where more thrust needs to be given, but I think that was also deliberated. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity and all that, and we look forward to our next seminar and all that. Thanks.
No, I am not a government man. I am very much retired government person. Anyway, good afternoon, everybody. So we are in the discussion area, panel discussion area. Yes, sir. I would like to highlight something which is very important so far the mining industry is concerned, is regarding sustainability. So sustainability is a very important factor which really would like the industry to be stable. I'll take a cue from the social point of view. The mining starts, the industry is benefited, the product comes out, and then when the mine is coming to a closure, the difficulties are arising. For that, the government of India has made act and rules. Mine closure plans have been introduced. In spite of, I'll give an example of what has actually happened in the earlier days. Let us say the Tatas. The Tatas started their mining from Gorumaisani, Badampahad and Sulepad area. They were mining in Badampahad, Sulepad as well as Gorumaisani. Now, sometime in the, I think, 70s or I think 70s, they had to stop their mining in these three mines, and then they left out. Now, if you see, what has happened to the people of those areas? Uh, the Tata Steel Jamshedpur has grown. It has become a 10 lakh or 20 lakh populated city with a lot of activities, lot of facilities. But what happened to the local people? Now that we did not have a very good policies so far as the earlier era was concerned. So what the government of India has introduced a concept of a mine closure plan, both for the non-mining sector, both for the metalliferous mining sector as well as for the coal sector. So what is required is that three things are to be balanced. The mining, of course, it is required. Unless mining is there, there will not be development. But simultaneously, the environment and the society has to be taken care of very honestly, very honestly. Now, let us say after a very long period, two mines are getting closed. If I am not wrong, one is the Sukinda Chromite mine of Tata Steel, and another the Jajang iron ore mine, which has been taken up by the JSW after it was held by Rungtas for many decades. So now these two mines are getting closed. Now it is highly necessary that they should adopt the measures which will give an example that after the mining is over, the community continues to reap the benefits. If it is not there, then the society will definitely look up. You must be seeing the society is not very positive when the public hearing takes place. Dr. Upadhyay will, though he will agree with me, that there is always a resentment of any project which is coming up. It is because the benefits which should accrue from the projects to the people, that should be sustainable on a long-term basis. So this is one should take care of very intelligently, and they should be very honest in their approach to see to it that the communities are really benefited, even post mining. Even post mining, that is very important. This is one aspect which, and for that you can know, so far as the mining is concerned, the government of India has introduced a system of star rating, both in the coal sector as well as the metalliferous sector, and they have made a measurable indicator for different aspects of the star rating. And if you get a 5-star rating, you are recognized in the various forums of the government, and I think that is also being recognized at national level and international level. And once a mine is getting a 5-star status, it is you may take it for granted that it is really doing a service to the society. So all the mines should try to achieve this goal of 5-star rating, which has been done both for the coal sector as well as for metalliferous mining sector. So this is regarding the sustainability. Then in the morning hours, we had excellent presentations from the speaker from Government of Odisha. Then Mr. G.C. Das gave a presentation on the iron ore mining sector. And what we understand is that certain amendments or certain changes are required in the legislation, which is obvious that any law which is being made in the country is required to be reviewed from time to time, and whatever may be the requirements, like Mr. Dr. Misra said that the small deposits are at a disadvantage, and something should be done about the small deposits. So because the auctioning of small deposit is not viable, and they may not last for 50 years, whereas they have to pay the what is that, land revenue, or there's some stamp duty they have to pay for 50 years, which is not sustainable. Cluster mining is another approach which has been suggested by both Dr. Misra and Mr. Jish Das. It is also to be taken up, thought of very seriously. And then another aspect which has been dealt by many of them is the old dumps. The old dumps. Obviously, the old dumps are the resources for the tomorrow with the lowering of the threshold value of the different minerals. Right now it is 45. They are still thinking that they are thinking 45 for iron ore. Maybe they are thinking of going down to 30 or 35. So, so that will create a different type of atmosphere so far as the mining is concerned. Yes, beneficiation is very important, and we should also have a continuous thrust on improving the mineral resources by improving our beneficiation methods. I think with this, I will say that we are progressing for a VIKSIT Bharat 2047 with the overall growth in the mineral sector. Thank you very much.
Thank you and good afternoon again. Lot of issues relating to environment, productivity, all have been touched upon and discussed, emphasized. I don't want to repeat my suggestions or recommendations which I have presented, but I have quickly to address 4-5 points which I may be contradicting some of you speakers, or I may not be in agreement with some of you speakers. Please bear with me. One and first point is about the small patches of mines to be taken up for clearance. We are in a very comfort zone. Lot of big mines are there. Lot of big minerals are there. Why do you fragment again those forest area having a small mine? Why don't you revamp the existing machinery and take up more production from the existing mines? In my opinion, existing mines are still viable and capable of giving you more product. My opinion is that don't venture into this framework of giving small mines to small. If it is required, I will suggest that 50-year, the criteria and limitations is there. That's what people have said. I suggest a different trend. Why don't you ask the government or the authorities to take these small patches of mines which can be, mined within 1 year, 2 year, make it as a minor mineral and take out from the purview of IBM and all and do the mining and give it to them. This is a random thought. May not be in regulatory way, it may not be more acceptable, but this is the some way we can think of. If it is unavoidable to go for patches of mines that cannot be taken by mine owners because there is a 50-year rider and lot of royalty has to begin, take it out and make some provision of making it minor mineral and let it can be given by the mines directorate, not by the central government rules. Second issue is that there are few things where courts have given certain directions that these should go for big clearances and all. With all the respect to those decisions, but still we can debate on like 0 to 25 hectare of minor minerals. 0 to 5 hectare also has to go to SEAC, SEIA. If you go for clearance business, I told you that it takes something like 360 days for getting the clearance. If you want to do sand mining in a river, it is a seasonal activity. It just, they do it for 3 months, 4 months. And the clearance itself will take 365 days. There has to be some balancing mechanism moving to the court of law with this type of arguments that it's a seasonal mine, it's a seasonal thing, we can complete in 3 years, and the clearance business takes more than 365 days. So viability of the project goes away. So there could be some thinking on this account. Another point which I would like to impress upon, Dr. Panigrahi, Dr. Mohanty also have spoken about it. If Rourkela steel plant can give a birth of a big city, why our Joda Badville area has not been able to do it? Still people are having the divide of all health, education, good road, good living. Why can't we do that? Lot of 5,000 crore royalty is coming, and lot of the money is going in district environment fund, it's going in Kampa, but still the people of the local region, what I had seen in 1990, I same the same hut there. Now after retirement, after 30 years, it's the same situation. Please bear with me. TPCODL can manage the whole city, giving the electricity. Best can provide a transport in Bombay, of the whole Bombay. Can we not make a special purpose vehicle and transform the whole the area, maybe 10 kilometer, 20 kilometer radius of the area? Money is there. So why don't you keep district environment fund, Kampa or your royalty you are getting, take out something, make a regional special purpose vehicle and transform the people, they will be happy. There will be no resentment. This is my point. Because 40 years I have not seen such development. I have gone hundreds of times in that area. This is another important point is that about waste. Today there are good minerals, but waste are also having subgrade minerals. Recommendation from my side could be that there could be a framework by the government of India or government of state that a good R&D backup should be there for the doing research studies for the subgrade minerals, whether it is iron, whether it is bauxite, whether it is chromite, particularly for this state, and the subgrade which is there in the OB dump, that should also be utilized. There has to be some policy. Say for example, red mud. It has got more than 35% iron, 37%. I remember we started this work with NIT Rourkela, and Vedanta has given a project to NIT Rourkela, Professor S.N. Singh, I think I remember correctly. They did some study. They said that yes, at lab scale it is possible to enrich it to 58, 59. So these are the resources where R&D has to be there. Maybe the Kyonjar Engineering College, the way sir has started the concept of making it a 5-star institute, that institute could be developed at R&D center with multidisciplinary approach, and these waste could be explored to the extent that all the minerals can be utilized. So these were the points I wanted to share with you. Thank you very much.
I just wanted to snatch this for 30 seconds because this red mud is a very important area. And on the red mud front, I think yesterday we heard how Hindalco has gone for the cement making with itself. And then red mud, remember, it contains iron and aluminum. And there is a very important material, the iron aluminide, Fe3Al, which is based essentially on both iron and aluminum. Our problem, our bane of iron ore is higher alumina, and our red mud contains more iron. So therefore, the iron and aluminum combination is one part. The last thing I wanted to say is artificial intelligence, machine language, these are not anymore the fashion. This year's Nobel Prize from medicine to physics and chemistry, there is a common thread. All of them work in the area of artificial intelligence. So basically all minds information, a lot of minds information for big parties, they are all very much closed. They are not available to the smaller minds. So what is necessary also is that data has to be also created, which is for the use of everyone else. Thank you.
What we would say that in the panel, whatever we are discussing, we'll be going on discussing further. We'll be going on discussing further, and this will be our responsibility. So I would like to invite my distinguished members, the delegates, big dignified guests are there, if they have some views to give.
Just 1 minute. I have some couple of announcements before we go to the floor for seeking for the suggestions. One is all the authors or the speakers in this last 1.5 day, I'll request them to submit it to SGAT, their full paper within next 2 to 3 days. Number one. Number two, the summary of the papers may be in one para, um, m- may be also submitted to the chairman of the committee and the and that should form the sort of recommendations. And this Mr. Our Sanjay Babu, he has suggested about the taxation. Mining taxation is the highest on earth. It is today about 60 to 65%, and no industry has that much. I have presented few papers, not in this forum, but in MGMI forum, etc. And particularly for chromite it is 200%. 200% taxes were there, because I was there in the sales committee of OMC. So, but then as PSU they have to do. Why PSU? Everybody has to do. And regarding this present day taxations, that is royalty, district mineral, DMF, NEMT. So a lot of money is lying unutilized, which our convener has announced more than once. And DMF alone is more than 1 lakh crores lying on unutilized. So, then I have got one more suggestion. In OMC has introduced Super 30. That is the human resource upgradation of knowledge and skill. It is only through good human resource we can get productivity, profitability, and everything good of the society will come. So they have done a batch of 30 people from the poor class people. That means the parents' income is less than 3 lakh per annum, that is 25,000. And through entrance exam they are selected and they are brought to Bhubaneswar, and a batch of 30 they are trained, and believe me, about 80% of that they compete in IIT, NIT, and subsequently they go to IIM and IS, etc. The country at large as well as industry, all will be benefited. So I spent my whole life in steel sector, although mining is also a division there. So there I have suggested to our this August gathering, I'll suggest that everywhere this human resource development has to be given impetus. Now let us start about these suggestions from different participants from the floor. Please come one by one, or you can announce it from there.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My observations are basically a bit of extension of two of our honorable panelists, what they made, Dr. Upadhyay and our good friend Mr. Patnaik. Dr. Upadhyay made that point today. Also, he had made that point yesterday about the concept of regulation. He said regulators should be removed. In fact, that should be applicable not for EIA, it is for the whole set. From the mind game, regulator should be removed and they should be facilitator. Only then VIKSIT BHARAT 2047 happen. Otherwise, it is not going to happen. Though this mindset has to change. And the and sir, at least Mr. President, Mr. President, sir, at least some of the ex-regulators who are distinguished panelists today, they can influence and do the mental thing. And my second observation is with respect to what Mr. Sanjay Patnaik made regarding mineral economics. All of us in this house are aware. I will give that example. When Mrs. Nandini Satpathy was the chief minister, 50 years ago, many who are sitting in the back might not be born by that time, a foundation stone was given in Kansa in Sukinda for a nickel plant. And today, if you go to look for that foundation stone, maybe you will have to go with a microscope to search where is that. Now, why that has not happened? We talk so much of Sukinda nickel, this, that, so much of study. I was involved with that study from Tata Steel side when RRL was doing that pilot plant. In fact, I was responsible for giving that sample and all that. Why has not that happened? See, the basics of all these things. You drill 500 meters, 1000 meters, do this, do that. This should be done, that should be done. The bottom line of the driver for all these are the commercial viability, the mineral economics. And the example which is sitting in front of us is the Sukinda nickel project dying for the last 50 years. Thank you very much.
Quickly on the Sukinda nickel, when IMMT did their work, there was a nickel plant itself, pilot plant, if you recall. Gradually from the nickel plant, another tree grew, but nickel didn't come out. That's essentially because the support from the Government of India, Ministry of Mines, was suboptimal. 9 crores was all that was actually granted to IMMT. Maybe a large number of IMMT scientists would be here, would bear me out. I've seen the nickel plant here. I was in NML then. So, if Government of India would have taken it forward, then Jindal stainless steel today, for blades, your stainless steel is a low nickel one. And basically, therefore, the high nickel plus the chromium part didn't happen because we did not spend money on that. So I don't know the reasons why Government of India didn't take it proper, but that's the reason. The foundation stone is far beyond, but at least in the pilot plant, it should have continued. That didn't happen then.
If Mr. Chairman permits me, I can just add to what Professor Mohanty said, because I know a little bit of that. I was involved in that study. So it's like this. The average nickel deposits of Sukinda, the average nickel deposits of Sukinda, as per GSI, were primarily concentrated around Kansa, and that was 1.1% NI average. However, the so-called band 1 who were operating and mining nickel as part of their overburden were asked to store it separately, and they were all averaging 0.6. The study which was done by IIMT then under Dr. R.P. Das, and we all were involved and gave the sample, they say that it is possible to upgrade 0.6 to 1.4, which is the basic requirement, threshold requirement for further upgradations, the leaching or whatever. It's possible. Technology was available. Technology was established then also. But why has not it happened? It's because of the commercial viability. It's the mineral economics. That's the point what Mr. Patnaik said, and I wanted to take it a little further. Basic driver of all decisions should be at the bottom is commercial viability. We may talk many things, but nothing is going to happen unless that is addressed. And Sukinda nickel project is the brightest of examples in front of all of us.
No, in Tata Steel, when we are looking at the nickel project also, using the overburden, the Australian technology did permit us to go from 0.6 itself, commercial project. But you didn't have enough material because we were not actually grading the overburden accordingly. There are a lot of mixing also taking place. And then, of course, the Supreme Court case, etc., came later on. So, therefore, there are a lot of other issues. We will now switch to other topics, perhaps.
Good morning, good afternoon all. I am Dr. Manoranjan Mohanty. I am currently working in Ministry of Science and Technology. Taking into account my expertise and my involvement in government policies, I am involved in critical mineral mission, then green steel production mission, then advanced materials. These three subjects are totally based on mineral. I am an Indian School of Mines student also. So my purpose of talking all the things that advanced material government of India is going to prepare one document, advanced materials, and it is on finalization stage because all country have prepared a document on advanced materials. If our materials is different, then the input for that minerals will be totally different. So once that is produced, Honorable Prime Minister has been telling again and again, we should have a document on advanced material. Second, critical mineral mission, as you know that recently Ministry of Finance, and I am an advisory committee member in Ministry of Mines, where Kantara is the chairman. And there they decided, and it has been decided, government has allocated the fund, 34,000 crore amount has been allocated for critical minerals. And government is going to create all this mineral mission on critical minerals, and they are going to give some blocks for exploration of critical minerals. Whenever it is loss or gain, that is not an important, but we have to we should not depend on China, because major threatening is China, because even steel also, in steel ministry also we are discussing on Chinese steel, and they are getting very cheaper prices. Our industry are going to suffer. The Tata, Vedanta, all the people who are there, we had a meeting there. I am representing all the Secretary Department of Science and Technology. They are talking of green steel. Now all the things are going to change, so basic depending on that, we have to discuss all the things. Secondly, government is trying to establish mines abroad also. Other country like Bolivia or Latin American countries, government is giving the permission to private industries that you go there and establish your mines there. Instead of bringing the tailings along with raw material, you bring the right. Recently, I can tell that we have an institution, ARCI Hyderabad, who are doing battery materials. They are directly bringing lithium carbonate from abroad, from Bolivia. They are processing there and bringing it. There are a lot of changes in this sector. We have to think upon that perspective. That is my concern. Thank you for giving this opportunity.
Jindal Steel is setting up the lithium plant right here, another 30 kilometers from here, at a cost of 40,000 crores. So they don't depend upon Government of India, meaning Jindal Steel. When the Jammu and Kashmir the lithium ore will be developed, and it will take 50 years. So what they are doing is cutting it short, bringing the lithium complex and producing lithium, and then the lithium-ion battery, etc. So therefore, I'm quite sure the progressive and enlightened industries will do that, notwithstanding whatever we are thinking or the Government of India is thinking. So there will be advanced technologies that will be coming to India with or without the support of the Government of India. What is necessary here is that actually some of the cases where that technology is not developed, can we actually develop it here? Chip technology today, Government of India is spending a lot of money, but simultaneously also chip development in the universities level is still lacking. Thank you.
issue with the NALCO and NMDC and the state government that nickel extraction plant was fully agreed by NALCO. Only government of the day, the government of state said that they will charge royalty as they were charging for the ore. And that was the main issue. It is the economically non-viable project, but still, instead of discussing it and treating it as a waste, government wanted a lot of royalty, just like minerals. Was that issue?
Well, that was an issue later on, because NALCO and these players came to the field much later. See, originally that pilot plant was being driven by Hindustan Copper, IIMT, Ministry of Steel and Mines, and some of the prominent producers like Tata Steel. So therefore, you would realize that the plant which started in IIMT and was successful in developing the technology was essentially based on the sample that we gave from South Kalyapani, which was 0.6 NI average. So these are the people who were involved. Later on, and then it went to the tomatoes stage, as it is continuing even till date, and many other players came. So the basic idea is that these are high development costs, and these are something where government should step in, and there are funds available. So like the exploration fund or even the district mineral fund. You said why Padbil Joda is happening, because the district mineral funds are going somewhere else. It's not being spent there. So therefore, what I am said is, what basically comes to the again that point which Mr. Patnaik said, and I overemphasize, is the bottom line, the driving force is the commercial viability. And then there are certain developmental areas where the government need to step in. Say, for example, yesterday one of our friends was presenting about the beneficiation of BHQ, and then the plans for future and all that and all that. Now just think of the cost and the gestation period of that project versus the kind of judgments that have come and the taxation that we were talking about. Where will we stand? So basically what is happening is, the left hand is not knowing what the right hand is doing, and as a result, many such projects are going to comatose.
fact of the matter is, Indian situation is quite unique in one or two areas. In the steel making, for instance, no country in the world has a situation where more than 55% of our steel making is through the electric route. And 50% of that is through induction, and the other 50% is through the arc furnaces. As a result, what happens is that the kind of ores that you require and the coal which you require, Dr. Banerjee was talking yesterday about the coal, but the coal gasification. So in Ongul, we already have the gasification. Syngas, the coal to liquid did not take place, CGL didn't take place, but CGS took place. So now, therefore, we have learning places here. And the second thing is the big blast furnace is coming. Tata Steel is setting up a 4,100 blast furnace, the Chinese blast furnace, which is coming up right here. So therefore, for a large blast furnace, the requirement of the kind of ore and also the coal, meaning coke, will change. And so therefore, the entire pattern changes. It is not a classic textbook definition. So in the last 20 years, the paradigm shift has taken place. This is one point we have to also keep in mind.
I just wanted to add one point to what Mr. Adhikari and Dr. Upadhyay. The point of facilitator instead of regulator facilitator. Why is status and that understanding, entire understanding of the economics and the nuances of mining operations? See, why is Tata Steel surrendering Sukinda today? We come back. Sukinda mine, which is the one of the largest deposits. Why is Tata Steel surrendering? Just because of MDPA rules. And whether you produce or not, 80% of the production you give the royalty. By sales of a mineral is a market function. It's a demand. If there is no demand, why will anybody keep its mineral resources idle? So what is this rule? Whether you produce or not, give government the royalty, 80% production and all those kind of stuff. Now this state government was keen to refer it to central government. Central government has said no. So finally, they had paid some large penalties of from 500-600 crores. It is just because Tata Steel deep pockets, so and now they have decided to surrender it. But till greater depths, they have proved it. High quality of minerals, and it will require underground mining in a friable zone. So, roof support, ventilation, although it's an expensive affair. So that is what now they are surrendering it. So this is the point what Mr. Adhikari was saying, that government needs to be a facilitator. We need to have facilitators rather than regulators. And the other point is also the appreciation of the nuances of the entire mining. Anyway, we will have that private discussion.
Thank you so much, sir. With the permission of the convener, I think we can stop here, though the discussions have been extremely lively. It can go on and on, but we have a time constraint. So before I go to the last activity, I'll just request Swadhina, please offer a bouquet to each of our distinguished guests here. And I think, yeah, the whatever is coming from the dais, let me know. Let me share with you that whatever suggestions you have, suggestions or thoughts, you can always share. You can always share with the mail ID of the society or anybody's mail ID. There is no problem. let me share with all our distinguished participants that we did not feel that we have no distinguished guest for this session. This was really panel discussion, you may call whatever. Panel discussion, this may be valedictory session, whatever you may say. This has been extremely, extremely enriching. You definitely would be one with me. So, but let me tell you, Dr. K. Murugesan, the Member Secretary of Odisha State Pollution Control Board, and also he has the additional charge, the additional PCCF nodal. Actually, he was tied up with some engagement with NGT. So that is the reason why he sent a message, and he has sent a message through Nihar Babu, our esteemed member, is sitting in front of us, that he has begged apology regarding this, but he could not make it. But anyway, I don't think we have wasted time. We have spent a very valuable time. So before we conclude, let me tell you that lot of sweating has gone into this successful event. This is a mega event. Don't think that it has been done overnight. So I think we have to acknowledge the contribution of those who have really contributed to the success of this event, big event. So inaugural session, our chief guest was Mr. Santosh Mahapatra, IAS retired. All of us have heard him, and I think you must have realized his address was highly revealing and entirely futuristic. I think so you can make out from what he spoke to us. Society expresses, even in his absentia, deep gratitude to Mr. Mahapatra for gracing our inaugural function as the chief guest. Our technical sessions, we have covered about 14 papers, technical papers, very, very valuable papers. We have covered exploration, mining, mineral processing, sustainable development, and environment. We have definitely attempted to touch the entire value chain, but we have succeeded to the large extent. There's no doubt about that. We discussed also aluminum, critical minerals, coal, chromite, most importantly marine minerals, and very, very importantly, one topic which was presented, that is utilization of low-grade ore, iron ore, or BHJ for steel making. So what I feel, all these sectors, all these minerals, and all these discussions what have happened during last 1.5 days, they are going to be extremely futuristic, and perhaps we have addressed really for the VIKSIT Bharat 2047, for which we are all here. Presentations were insightful, speakers were extraordinary. I cannot distinguish one from other. We are deeply grateful to all our distinguished speakers and energetic chairpersons. Coming to the sponsors and co-sponsors, this event has been supported by 14 companies. SGAT is grateful to all of them. Within a very short span of time, they have extended the support that we have received from them. It was incredible. There is no doubt about that. Who are they? They are KCCL, Lloyds Metals and Energy Limited, Messrs. SN Mohanty, MCL, Vedanta, AMNS India, Messrs. MGM Minerals, Hindalco, World Consultancy Services, Jindal Stainless, Messrs. MG Mohanty, Rungta Group, Messrs. KCP, and Nalco. I shall make a special mention of the KCCL team, like Mr. S.R. Samal, the CMD, and his energetic team constituting, Mr. Samal is here, actually Samal is here. He has been so encouraging from the very beginning for all of us, for SGAT particularly, for holding this seminar. Actually, when we started this thing, he is the person who came forward and tell that please go ahead, whatever gap areas will be there, I'll fill it up. That assurance he has given. And his team, Mrs. Aparna Srivastav, Mrs. Arundhati Chaudhary, Ms. Sunita Raut, Mr. Pravas, Miss Swadhina, etc., who have been helpful and helpful to all of us but for organizing this seminars. So we are really grateful to all the sponsors and co-sponsors. The role of participants is extremely critical in making an event successful. So the participants we have been witnessing from yesterday, today also, that we are going to end this session, and we can definitely realize the way the participants were discussing, and they were requiring more time, but unfortunately we don't have more time with us for taking it forward because we have constraints. We have to organize another very important event in the evening. That is our annual general body meeting of SGAT. So we are in a hurry to wind up. So I definitely, on behalf of the society, we are extremely thankful and grateful to all our distinguished participants coming across from different sectors, from different areas. I thank our SGAT seminar committee. One committee was constituted, headed by Dr. R.C. Mohanty. We will do that. And Mr. Jain Das, Dr. Manoranjan Mohanty, Mr. Tilochan Mohanta, Mr. Dilip Mohanty, Dr. B.M. Farooq, Tapas Rath, and also Mr. Kitish Patnaik, Mr. Mahadhar Bera are there, who have really worked very, very hard. And our geo image has also extended necessary support. We are thankful to them. Banishri, the girl who was doing the anchoring in each session, he was doing a very good job. And definitely, and she happens to be the granddaughter of Dr. R.C. Mohanty. So she did a good job and very big job for all of us. So God bless you, Banishri. Then we are thankful to Hotel Mayfair for their entire logistics that they have been supporting us since yesterday. Friends, I'll make a special mention for a special man of the movement, our convener, Dr. R.C. Mohanty. It is Dr. Mohanty, because many of you may not be knowing, I want to share with you. It is Dr. Mohanty who conceptualized this seminar, and he named it like Dynamics in Mineral Sector. Whatever is written, was coined by him himself. Then he did another thing. He told that the seminar must be dedicated to late B.K. Mohanty. It is he who proposed, and we all supported him. He again proposed that we have to hold the seminar in the Hotel Mayfair. We told no, we will do it in the SGAT conference hall because of obvious reasons. But I don't know, he was extremely confident. And he told them, no, I will make it successful. Let us hold it in Mayfair, Hotel Mayfair. So he decided the entire game plan. I'm telling you, he decided the entire game plan and executed everything very, very successfully. Then it is he actually who ran from pillar to post to ensure sponsorship, technical papers, and delegates. I'm telling you, all these three things which are the really requirement for a seminar, he has done it without any reluctance or despite his ill health and despite his age. People must be knowing actually he is around 83 or 84, but he has spent, we started this work since last 6 months in the month of June. I still remember, he has never looked back. And He has spent so many sleepless nights and he has shared with me. I know what kind of he has. I would request all of you to have a big round of applause for Dr. Mohanty for making it success. Last but not the least, there is another Mohanty who is sitting in front of us, who is physically is not present here with us, but he is there and he has been blessing us from the very beginning. I realized this thing. I don't know whether you realize this thing. So he has been doing wonders for us silently. So we are realizing his blessings, and he is there, and he will be there. I know, because these things are very close to his heart. So definitely he will be there with us. With this, I conclude my vote of thanks, and with this, I would request President to make one announcement. Something he will make some announcement. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you all. This seminar is now over officially, and as we know, my entire tenure was spent outside Odisha, except 7 years in Rourkela Steel Plant in their mines division. So the seminar is over, and outside Odisha, people of Odisha are identified as Mohanty and Patnaiks. That also the chief guest yesterday explained fully. And so now coming to the second announcement, our AGM annual general meeting is scheduled at 6:30 p.m. this hall. I'll request all the SGAT members and our friends to attend it and participate fully. So this is a special request. So in very large number, people should participate in the evening in this hall itself. Thank you.
Now I request all our distinguished delegates to please join in the lunch. Lunch is ready outside. Please.
Before that,